Good morning, brand new year, brand new day. We're 6 hours into 2024. May this year be filled with laughter, love, good health, wealth, and endless possibilities. May each day bring you closer to your dreams and aspirations. A very happy new year to you watching us from your homes, offices, vacation destinations, and wherever you find yourself in the world. Yes, you are wonderful viewers. We have a truly special show lined up for you this morning. As we navigate the new year, it's essential to have voices that inspire, entertain, and guide us. And who better to kickstart this year than our esteemed guest, each a beacon of talent and wisdom. We have a packed menu of news, newspaper reviews, sports, and exciting discussions. We're honored to have a renowned motivational speaker and playwright whose insights have empowered millions. In these transformative times for our nation, Uncle White will share invaluable perspectives on resilience, hope, and charting a new path forward. And that's not all. Our musical guests today are none other than Mensa and Wolasi, two extraordinarily talented artists whose melodies have touched many. They'll grace us with their time and share their thoughts on national issues. As we begin the day with you, let's remember that every conversation, every shared moment has the power to inspire change and propel our nation towards a bright future. So sit back as we embark on this journey together. Let's embrace the new year and open hearts, open minds, and determination to make a difference. Stay with us for an enlightening and uplifting morning. Let's make this year one to remember. I am Amiesi Nyamiche Thompson, sitting in for Benjamin Akapo, who is on a well-deserved break. We'll be right back with the news. Now let's start. Close call at the Black Star Square as fireworks misfire, nearly endangering the lives of thousands of revelers who gathered on New Year's Eve. The timely intervention of the Ghana National Fire Service and military averted any catastrophe. Meanwhile, unlike 2023, many are hopeful 2024 will be good to them. There's more in the following report.
It's the last night of 2023 and the world divides into two distinct realms. One filled with fervent prayers, echoing in sacred spaces, seeking solace in the hallowed halls of worship.
Whatever you are believing the Lord for in 2024, thank the Lord. And by faith, you can wear prophecy.
As a practicing Christian, it's good that you come and thank God for a very good year, a very difficult year, that you would pray to God to forgive you for your sins, and also pray to God to usher you into a year 2024.
I'm happy with my family. From January to December, we are saved. Nothing bad has happened to us, so we are here to give God all the glory, to thank Him.
Others embrace the night with joyous beats and laughter.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. And you did great, man.
I mean, happy New Year, my brother.
Happy New Year, so.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And I appreciate Ghana. Next year, we have to be bold. Don't worry, you have for it.
It's Coco Meti Tree Kakra Kakra.
What's the tree, kakra? Okay, let's do a small tree. So, move free here.
Sika, money.
Move free America.
America.
Okay, so.
This year I decided to come to the beach just to come and have fun.
And how is it going?
Oh, so smooth.
Irrespective of where you find yourself, all are united by the shared anticipation of bidding farewell to the old and welcoming the promise of a new year. And at the stroke of midnight, fireworks lit up the night sky. The cheer at the Black Star Square from the splendid fireworks quickly turned upside down.
So it's the stroke of midnight, and officially we are in 2024. The excitement here at the Black Star Square is through the roof. Thousands and thousands of people are here to be part of the community, ushering themselves into a brand new year. And as usual, the Black Star Square is lit with fireworks lighting up the sky. Okay, so I guess that's supposed to be a firework that has misfired. So it seems thrilling for those who are watching. But certainly for those who are working with the fire department, that's something to be concerned about. So yes, some of the fireworks are misfiring, and you can see gentlemen for the Ghana National Fire Service are rushing to get to the grounds. And a fire tender together with an ambulance has been brought to the scene, and the lights to the Independence Arc here has gone off. It used to be lit in the Ghana colors, red, gold, green, and black star on top of it there, all gone off. I must suppose that must be a very serious incident that has happened here.
Nevertheless, the enjoyment goes on. Many people simply refuse to go to sleep.
It's like they're not like life. Some are in the hospital, some are in the prison, but we are alive. To celebrate to see 2-4, Masa, inshallah, is not easy. I'm very happy. I've been happy as somebody.
Oh, we came back from church and we decided to take a picture here.
Take a picture, and how is it going?
It was cool.
Talk to me about the lights. This, for me, I mean, it looks beautiful. What do you think?
Oh, it's beautiful.
We are snapping pictures. We've entered into a new year. Yeah, so we are enjoying ourselves.
Interesting. I know my forehead is wet, so it's shiny, but your forehead is shiny. Is that oil?
Yeah.
Oil from where?
From church.
Why?
We are entering into a new year, so I have to take anointing oil to, yeah.
To take pictures. How many pictures have you taken so far?
Oh, plenty.
They will charge you for every single one of them.
Really? Okay, don't worry. God will pay for us.
But how about you? I mean, see you as the photographer. How many? Let me see the number of pictures you've taken.
I've gotten like not less than 50.
Not less than 50 pictures.
Yeah. But I haven't started myself.
So just the two of them, 25 each.
Yes.
And your own 225. That'll be 75 pictures.
So I'm waiting for my own.
At 2 a.m., during the bustling rush hour, the streets were jam-packed with vehicles and pedestrians. Yet, the police were actively managing the chaos. A brief city tour would make it obvious. The police presence was widespread. Even the Inspector General of the Ghana Police Service, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, was on the grounds. Assistant Commissioner of Police Grace Ansa Akrofi explained why.
The occasion is 1st of January. It's a new year. We know that in Ghana, the New Year festivities is characterized by a lot of celebration. A lot of people are in the town. And as the Ghana Police Service, our duty is to ensure that there is peace, law, and order in the country. And so throughout the Christmas up till now, the police service, under the leadership of Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, has deployed thousands of police officers all across the country. And so today he's on the ground to encourage his men to see the safety of our patrons and to make sure that every person that is out here, every person that is in their home, anybody is safe, secure, and there's law and order.
She says the police is hopeful 2024 will be better for the service.
And our message to all Ghanaians is that we wish you a Merry Christmas, a belated, and a Happy New Year. And we urge you to continue to work with us to ensure your safety, security, law, and order. We are happy to serve you and to serve you better each day.
Many compared 2023 to 1983 when Ghana experienced a great famine. Some even argue that 2023 might have been even tougher. Despite this, there's a prevailing optimism that 2024 holds a promise of a brighter future.
I'm graduating from school, so, just to grab the degree and then have more fun after school.
Interesting. What about you? What do you expect to do or accomplish in 2024?
Hopefully get a degree, BMW.
You want to buy a BMW in 2024?
Our apartments, we get married. That's it. So it's really hard to predict. Say maybe they'll win or lose. It's really hard. So I don't know why the government will be like, after your struggle, then it will be like, they'll deduct tax. 10%. Because when you are placing the bet, the government will not give you the money for the placement of the bet. But I don't know why when you chop the bet, they'll be like, you then go deduct. It doesn't make sense. For me, it doesn't make sense.
It was the last morning service in most churches across the country as many Christians danced and thanked God for helping them see the end of 2023. Later this evening, they'll be welcoming 2024 crossover church services. They're optimistic this new year will be better. At the Perez Chapel, Bishop Dr. Selassie Ajalasari urged the congregation to forget the past and look ahead.
Press on. One of the most challenging things in a believer's life is recognizing when a season is ending and a new one is beginning. The reason why I'm saying this is that if care is not taken, we enter the new season carrying the perceptions and the baggage of the last season. More often than not, the former things and the past things cast a shadow into the new year or the new season we are about to enter into. And when you are standing on the summit of a year like this, it is good to remind ourselves to leave the past behind and embrace fully what God has for us for the next season.
On his part, founder of the Movement for Change, Alan Tremontin, says although 2023 was challenging for most Ghanaians, they should keep hope alive.
Fellow countrymen and women, as we prepare to celebrate Christmas and welcome a new year, I want to join you in your homes, workplaces, places of worship, and wherever you may find yourselves to share the joy, peace, and love of this festive season. At this time when we enjoy God's greatest blessing to humanity, which is the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, let us remember to pray for the poor, the needy, lowly, destitute, homeless, the sick, widowed, orphaned, and those incarcerated in prison, that God in His infinite grace will look upon them with mercy and love. Fellow countrymen and women, this year has no doubt been a tough and challenging one for all of us. But I encourage you, especially at this time, in the spirit of the season, to keep hope alive and persevere relentlessly throughout the coming year, knowing that God has in store for our dear country good things. As we learn in Jeremiah 29, verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a future with hope." We, the Movement for Change, believe very strongly that the right leadership of vision, competence, integrity, and action, our beloved Ghana will rise again. Together we have the power to transform our society, empower our communities, and create a lasting future for generations to come. On my own behalf and on behalf of the millions of supporters of the Movement for Change, I wish you and your families a blessed Christmas and a glorious New Year. God bless our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong.
Well, the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Fifi Kwete, is bemoaning what he describes as the increasing decay in the opposition party. According to him, corruption and moral decadence the party fought against during the time of the revolution have now become part and parcel of the NDC. Speaking at the 42nd anniversary of the 31st December revolution, the General Secretary says the commemoration of the revolution is not an opportunity to bash the NPP, but a time for the NDC to engage in self-examination in order to nip the inner decay in the bud. Kwesi Adai-Kwating has more on this report.
The 42nd anniversary of the 31st December Revolution was organized under the theme Building the Ghana We Want, revisiting the decade that stopped the decay. The yearly commemoration is to remind NDC members of the ideals upon which Ghana's Fourth Republic was established. Speaking at this year's edition, General Secretary of the NDC, Fifi Kwete, bemoaned the increasing decay in the current NDC.
But we want that blazing flame to stop the real decay. And that decay continues to be in the NDC today. So I don't want us NDC to pretend that 31st is simply a day to bash NPP. NPP is not the issue. The issue is bigger than NPP. The decay even in the heart of NDC must stop with that blazing fire. And that is what this business is about.
He said until the party is rid of the internal decay, their victory in 2024 will be meaningless.
It is in vain if we win power only to continue what we see. It is in vain we win power only to do some of the things that we are seeing done and only to claim that we have done less. That's not enough.
Chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asidin Keti, on his part, noted Ghana under the NPP is heading towards the normalization of corruption and moral decadence if the NDC does not rise to fight the menace.
I dare say that the way corrupt activities are being normalized, if we do not introduce another decade that will stop this decay, we are heading towards a country that will make corruption compulsory. There will be a time when laws will be passed to legalize corruption.
MP for Koliklote, Zaneto Ajiman Rollins, is cautioning the party will not shield anymore who will destroy the party from within ahead of the 2024 polls.
Now is the time for us to be honest about who we are and what we stand for. We must have zero tolerance for those who are amongst us who are destroying. If we are going to say that in the name of peace, we're going to allow people who are destroying from within to remain, there will not be any peace, nor will there be any victory.
Chairman of the United Cadres Front also called on members of the party to expose and take on Baumia in all their campaign activities ahead of the 2024 elections.
In defense of the name M-A-H-A-M-A, Mahama, the only campaign weapon of the MPP and now the emerging butterfly, we must not only strongly extol his actions and deeds, but at the same time brutally take on Baumia for all his lies and inactions as vice president.
The event was marked with significant activities, including the lighting of the perpetual flame and wreath laying. Kwesi Dai Kwartens report.
Meanwhile, NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama is promising an extra Eid holiday for Muslims if given the nod to become president. According to him, the additional holiday will resolve the challenges faced by some members of the Muslim community who are unable to fully partake in the public holiday at the end of the Ramadan period. He spoke at the 63rd Annual National Conference of the Ghana Muslim Mission in Kumasi.
It is our intention to resolve the situation where some of our Muslim brothers and sisters do not enjoy the public holiday at the end of the Ramadan fast due to the 29 or 30-day rule based on sighting of the moon. Therefore, we will add an additional holiday to the celebration of Eid al-Fitr. If inshallah we are voted into office, we will add an additional holiday to the Eid al-Fitr celebration. And we're going to do this by reconfiguring the Public Holidays Act so that Ghana maintains overall the same number of public holidays per year so that we do not affect productivity.
Professor Emerita at the University of Ghana, Professor Techua Menu, has called on politicians to capture realistic policies and programs in their manifestos. According to the former director at the Institute of African Studies, critical issues concerning the country's fiscal indiscipline, large size of the government, and inclusivity are some of the issues that must be prioritized in the manifestos of political parties. Speaking in an interview on PM Personality Profile, Professor Menu cautioned that the peace we currently enjoy in the country should not be taken for granted and must be maintained during and after the 2024 election.
think that peace is an absolute prerequisite, and I think that we don't need to go far. We can look around West Africa and the larger African region and see what conflict has done. If you have been following the conflict in the Sudan, for instance, I think the recent Israel-Hamas war has diverted attention from all other conflicts, but we do have serious situations right at home around us. This is a prerequisite. We need to ensure that whatever happens, Ghana wins, and that elections are conducted in a civil, peaceful manner, that they do not inflame any kind of negative sentiments, regional, ethnic, religious, etc. Also that we do have campaigning based on issues. We were during the last elections, I did some work with CDD looking at the election manifestos, and many of them are about procurement, etc. We need to get beyond that. We are in the same space. We are hugely indebted. We have not transformed our economy. We are importing everything. I mean, we still talk about whether we've got 6 months of import cover or those kinds of things. Really, after so long, our ambitions should be greater than this, So we do need transformational change. We need to move away from the fiscal indiscipline, the size of government, the overweening power that we have given to our executive when it comes to appointments, building real inclusivity. We were talking about gender balance, both in elections and in appointments, and we do need to get a move on that. So those are some of the more serious issues that I would like to see addressed to give our young people and children and grandchildren a real future in this country.
A member of IFWA Central's medical team, Dr. Grace Bachman, has revealed she nearly gave up on day 2 of her attempt to break the world record for the longest singing marathon. Speaking on Showbiz HZ, she said the team called a psychologist, and after some minutes of pep talk, IFWA rescinded her decision to quit. IFWA sang for 126 hours and is currently waiting the Guinness World Records to confirm whether she has broken the existing record, which stands at 105 hours.
The medical team, one of our difficult days was, I think, the day 2. Day 2, late morning, afternoon thereabout, where I think she just stopped everything and just left the space. At the point, she said she's not doing this again. In fact, so on day 2, I actually thought like everything was ending. She just left. She just left. It took some time. So then again, our psychotherapy was very, very important. Working on the mind, we had to do. At that time, the psychologist wasn't around. Had to call on speaker. We know what to say. We know what the team was solid, very, very solid.
Wow.
Yeah, we knew what to say. So within a short period of time, she just gets up, say, "I'm a champion. Let's go. Let's do this."
So when you said, "I'm tired," then you
we find a way.
Well, IFWA's voice coach Daniel Freeman says the scariest moment for the team was when she lost her voice.
When she lost her voice, that was the scariest moment, right? Yeah. For all of us. For everybody. Everybody. She was scared. We were scared. The family was scared. Just challenge. Everybody was confused at a point. But then, I was even home when I got the call from who?
Is it Eugene?
Eugene said, your girl, they losing voice. Where you did? So I had just gone home. I said, okay. Do magic. Come on, you for sure. I said, okay, give me 15 minutes. I quickly took this thing. I said, this kind of voice she had. No. I grabbed a container of salt. Okay. But won't give you all the trade secrets.
No, but I will ask Doctor.
Doctor will not give you all the trade secrets. Now we have something we can trade for other things. We're not going to give you all the details.
Okay,
let me give you a heads up.
Don't mention it already.
So I grabbed something, and based on experience.
Okay.
And I had met the doctors. I knew we had a fantastic connection right from the beginning. Okay. I knew that. So we went. So I went, sat down with her, and we started working. They had their other things. We rubbed minds together. We were asking, they brought this. I said, okay, based on what I know about this, I think, no, this will not be suitable at this time. It was just seamless. And then we started working. And then I knew I had to get her vocal cords to move in a certain way to make it come back. So we got it to move in a certain way, and it came back. Wow. Together. That's all.
Deputy Head of Corporate Affairs at the Ghana Tourism Authority, Kofi Atakakra Kusi, who was also on the show, said Ifua Santua was selected as one of Ghana's tourism ambassadors, so she will continue to project Ghana like she did with her marathon.
Then you appointed her tourism ambassador.
Yeah.
Okay. What does that mean?
Good. Yesterday during the after party, our chief executive, through Mr. Kwesi Ajiman, through our deputy CEO, Mr. Ben Ananisia, he's in charge of finance and administration, had to pronounce that Ifua has been appointed as a tourism ambassador. What it means is that she aims at projecting. Already she has put the spotlight on Ghana, so it gives her enough responsibility to work with us closely to project the country more and market the country domestically and internationally like it is. Yes, it is a matter. That is how come
it is.
So that is how come we had to appoint her as a tourism ambassador, because this is a great fit which goes to the advantage of the country. That global recognition, we can't take it for granted. I'm telling you. Yes, we can't take that for granted. And then also you look at the international fever that comes with it.
Okay.
We are leveraging. Of course, it is very important to leverage on the personality. Okay, the personality of Ifua.
I like the word. You are leveraging on her personality.
You need to. It is very important. It is very, very important. Right. At any point in time, what we do, per what our chief executive has always been doing, is to make sure that, of course, we make sure that anything that goes to inure to the benefit of the country, we always collaborate with it. We always partner with it, and then make sure that we leverage.
Not always, though. Not always. You slacked with the Wanderlust road trip to London. You slacked with that one, so not always. Okay, let's continue.
Well, away from that, a year ago, we told you a story of a boy who could not eat or drink through his mouth. This was because he had accidentally drank caustic soda when he was young, and that eroded or corroded his esophagus. For years, there was no hope until Joy News came across the story. When we told you the story, many of you came to his aid and his surgery was done. Kojo Brace traveled to his home in Ewusijo, Ahanta West, and now reports.
I should pump Nanam Pubayamam over Clibiam and Tramp. Uncle. And not there, made syringe, marching. Namdam Pan on the affair.
That was Vincent, who for several years could not eat through his mouth because he had suffered esophageal stricture, which came about after he had accidentally drank caustic soda as a child. After telling his story, many of you came to his aid, and today, due to that benevolence, he is hale and hearty.
I
am okay now. I'm thankful to God. By His grace, I'm okay now. I don't feel anything when I think like every normal human being.
It is until you will be a mental, but
Vincent's story is one of a miracle. He looked frail because he could not eat for years, but that has changed after his surgery.
I can do any type of work I like. For now, I have an uncle who I can go to do some menial jobs.
His aunt, Teria, says Vincent is able to eat any kind of food now.
He has recovered and is able to eat any kind of food I give him. He's also able to undertake any activity too. He doesn't have the throat problem any longer. I give him fufu banku and he's able to eat it.
She's thankful to the benevolent people who donated towards the surgery.
May God bless them for me, because if they had not intervened, I could have lost my boy. May their works progress so that they can be there for others anytime they need help.
This festive season has rather been special for Vincent, as a philanthropist sent some clothing and money to him. It was all smiles when we got to the house in Eusiejo. Vincent's story tells of the good society can do when we commit ourselves to it. For Joy News, Samuel Kojo-Brace, Eusiejo, Ahanta West, Western Region.
And on the positive notes, we bring the news to an end on the AM show, but don't go away. We'll be right back with a newspaper review. Welcome back, and I'm excited, particularly excited this morning because we are in the new year and it has started on a positive note. This is the newspaper review segment, but unfortunately we don't have the newspapers. We'll make do with we'll do the online portals, and I have with me Kofi Asari of the Africa Education Watch to help me do this. He joins me via Zoom, but we'll start. Kofi Asari, good morning, Happy New Year. Can you hear me?
Hi, good morning, and Happy New Year to your team.
Thank you very much. We are delighted to have you.
All our audience as well.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sure they're happy to see you this morning. How's your night, by the way?
Well, not being too different from the others. I chose to do my New Year countdown at home, and so I've been home since 11:30.
Right. And how are you feeling? It's 2024. Do you feel any different?
No, it's just another day. It's another day, and I mean it's a Monday. That's it. Except that everything that makes 2024 and different from 2023 has to do with our own attitude. But in terms of today, it is just another day.
Right. Well, we thank God for life, and the fact that we are alive is the most important thing. Let's get right into it for the news review, and we'll start with myjoyonline.com. The first story, or the major story on the network, is Mahama leads Bawumia in social media sentiments, and that's a report by Imani Africa. Now, let me read a bit of it. It says the presidential candidate of the NDC, John Mahama, appears to be leading in terms of social media reception compared to Vice President and NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. This comes ahead of the 2024 presidential elections, in which the duo are considered front runners. Now, this information comes from Imani Africa's Public Understanding and Literacy for Sentiment and Election Pulse. Now, according to the periodic social media sentiment analysis report published in December 2023, more Ghanaians on social media expressed favorable opinions about John Mahama compared to Dr. Bawumia. The study revealed that only 9.74% of posts mentioning Dr. Bawumia or the MPP were positive. Now, if you go through the story, it also says in contrast, about 20% of social media posts mentioning John Mahama and the NDC were positive. Imani highlighted the number of posts mentioning the NPP and Dr. Bawumia was 4 times higher than those mentioning the NDC and John Mahama. So, Mr. Asari, what do you make of the story?
Well, I think that the social media sentiment analysis by Imani is one of the activities to gauge the direction of opinions, in an election year. Most importantly, we have actually, fully ushered in an era where a lot of the public engagement, public sentiments, and all that are expressed on social media than the traditional media or the mainstream media. And so having such analysis on social media ensures that the critical mass of people's opinions and how they are expressed, it's not missing out in the analysis or in the gauging of the temperature of the people. I mean, the temperature of the opinions of people, as we inch towards an election. I think it is, if you like, very normal for social media sentiments not to favor a government in power ahead of a second term election. I'm talking about the end of an 8-year term election. It is normal. It has been so. If you follow our political history, you realize that every end of term now, or if you like, every second year election, you would find that the incumbent government is always the underdog, and then the opposition party will always be the favorite. And if you situate that within our current economic context, the economic difficulties we are going through, the difficulties that led us to the IMF and all that, and how it has impacted on the quality of life, cost of living, etc., unemployment, youth unemployment, and all that, it shouldn't be too strange that a lot of the sentiments, go in favor of the NDC than the MPP on social media. Between 9 and about 20%, though it's not too wide, I must admit, in terms of the favorable sentiments. But it is understandable that the NDC would be slightly ahead of the MPP when it comes to expressing such sentiments positively, in view of our economic condition. And even if the economy was better, I still believe that the fact that we are used to, if you like, conventionally, there's an 8-year tenure for every political party. You wouldn't be surprised to see the opposition party having an edge, over the incumbent. I'm not too sure. I don't think it's a departure from what we are used to in the past 29 or so years since we started the Fourth Republic.
Well, Kofi, interesting review by Imani Africa, but I'd like to ask you, you don't see any surprises in there? I know we are in an election year, and it started very early. Don't you see any surprises in there?
No surprises at all. As I indicated, no surprises. We are in the second term of the government. The government has 1 more year to go. We are used to an 8-year system where every party comes and is given 8 years to rule. And another one comes for 8 years. That has been the trend since 1992, right? And so when you are approaching the 8th year of a particular administration, you definitely would expect that a lot of these polls will benefit. I mean, the outcome of a lot of these polls will benefit the opposition party, and for that matter, disbenefit or put, slightly in a disadvantaged position, the incumbent government. And so, we've seen about three other polls already, right, the one from Economic Intelligence Unit, and the other guys, and all of them are pointing to the fact that the opposition party, the major opposition party, has an edge, or is a favorite, compared to the incumbent party. The extent to which they are a favorite is, for me, the most important issue for discussion, because it appears that, and synonymous with previous elections, there's nothing like anyone being a clear favorite, but there's a slim margin that actually favors the opposition NDC. And as I indicated, indicators on the ground, it supports to a higher extent, such projections. But let me indicate that these are sentiments of people. My curiosity is from the fact that a lot of the social media accounts are, if you like, they are robotic accounts. The accounts that are created by people who are connected to politicians or politicians themselves, to project them in a certain manner and create a certain public opinion about them. It's their marketing strategy. So I don't know the extent to which Imani's methodology took into account such pseudo social media accounts and the opinions expressed by them. But it is an important barometer of how people feel about the government and how people feel about the largest opposition party. And so I think that both political parties have something to learn from this result, and the extent to which they learn from the outcome will obviously improve their fortunes ahead of the 2024 elections.
But what do you really suppose that they should do about it?
Well, if you are in government and you appreciate the essence of such scientific polls, you obviously should first of all be happy that you have 1 year. 1 year is a long time in politics. And so it gives you an idea about what people think is not going too well, the sentiment people express about various aspects of governance, of socioeconomic governance or political governance, etc., gives you an idea about the areas of your general governance policy, and specifically, if you like, economic governance policy that you need to strengthen in order to appeal to a lot of the people who are not too happy. You want to be interested in how, the 8 categories, whether they are youthful or not, and then what appeals to them, what are they saying that makes what are they saying about your government, what are they saying in respect of what they're expecting that they are not seeing, for which reason the sentiments are not positive, for you, and how best can you turn the corner, more having about a year, 12 months to election. And so these sentiment polls on social media are coming ahead, coming earlier in an election year, for me, it is great for the incumbent government, because you have a long time to change a lot of things, and you have the power to change a lot of things to suit or to appease or to appeal to the sensibilities of many of the populace or the electorates. For the NDC too, well, perhaps they know, they are aware that people are a bit happier than them because of A, B, C, D, E. So what is it that is driving them ahead of the MPP in respect of such social media sensitivity polls? And so if they know, then they know where to focus more to make people more happy and more interested, or to make their brand more attractive. And once you know those angles, you do more of that and less of what they don't like. You understand? I wasn't interviewed Okay, but if they, or I'm not sure I was assessed. I don't know, but if I was assessed.
Well, which brings me to this point briefly before we move on to the next story. You made mention of the fact that some of these responses are robotic. I mean, they are not real people behind them. But how then do we assess real people's, opinions about political parties or the flag bearers, I beg your pardon, to be able to deduce the real sentiments of the people? How then do we get to that?
Yeah, so most of these researches are initial researches based on which further ones could be done. I mentioned that it gives an idea. I mean, it's just a first layer of litmus, about people's feeling about the government or the opposition. But it gives ground for further, deep dives to be conducted into people's perception, as expressed on social media. You want to deep dive into a particular, set of issues that you believe, based on the outcome of this survey, that doesn't sit too well, but something could be done. So you do further investigation into it, engage more of the youth, those who are prominent on social media, and then get to find out what exactly their expectations are, what is not making them too happy, and what can be done. So such researches are very important because they form the basis for further deep dive researches. The critical question I asked still remains that I'm not too sure the extent to which the sample included this many pseudo accounts we see, splash on social media, people who are virtually, sponsored by political actors to come and then propagate, their messages, and then some of them also pay to come and insult others. Let's come and misbehave on social media. I'm not too sure the extent to which the study differentiated between those pseudo accounts and then real account of real people who have not been paid by anyone to act in a certain way and who are expressing genuine, sentiments about their political party or another political party. But as I said, political parties may wish to, on the basis of the findings, take a deep dive and then see how they can improve on their level of, if you like, acceptance level, so that the more your policies are more accepted, the more you're posturing. My experience in election years, in this country is that, especially in the 8th year, a lot of the reasons, a lot of the factors that influence people's opinions and sensibilities and all that are not always economic. But they mainly bother on posturing.
Right.
Okay. The more arrogant a government is in their posturing, the more intolerant they are, the more arrogant and intolerant they are. It brings a lot of disaffection for the people. It's not always the economic situation. And so I think such studies are important, but they are mainly important for the conduct of further studies based on which government and the leading opposition party can improve their fortunes ahead of the elections.
Right. So, Kofi, we move on from that particular story, and let's turn our attention to the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Values Bill. And the chieftaincy minister has been, talking about this particular bill. He says, that is Stephen Asamoah Boateng, has debunked claims that government does not support the passage of the bill. According to him, matters concerning the bill fell directly under his purview as it involved issues of tradition and religion. And I quote, he's been quoted here saying that people think that we don't back it in government. It is not true. We do. It was not initiated by the government, but my brother, Sam George, started it. I'm leading the charge on the government's behalf, and I'm backing him. I am backing the churches, I am backing the Muslims, I am backing the traditional authorities. We do not want to see this gay matter or whatever in Ghana. Never. It won't happen, he said. And this was when he was addressing congregants of Perez Chapel just last night. And Kofi, I mean, this particular bill has stoked controversy in government and even in the public domain. What do you make of this stance by the chieftaincy minister?
Well, yes. Well, I think that a lot has to do with actions than pronouncements. If government is not against the bill, then it must be manifested in government's own actions. For me, that's the most important thing. Yes, the bill is still within Parliament. I'm sure. I'm not too sure when it's leaving Parliament to the executive. But the only demonstration government can make to tell the people or to affirm what Asabi is talking about is simply, assenting the bill after it has been fully worked on by Parliament. Yes, the bill was sponsored by a group of. The group was not sponsored by some judge. It's been sponsored by a group of MPs. My understanding is that they are from both sides of the house. But it stands as a private member's bill, so that's fine. Asabi is saying this because of the challenges we are facing with the presidency assenting to the anti-witchcraft bill, on the basis of Article 108. And many people in society, sections of society have raised issue about the interpretation of 108 and the likelihood that on the basis of the president's explanation to the Speaker of Parliament about why he wasn't happy or he disagreed with Parliament, with the witchcraft bill, people are beginning to think that the president's understanding and understanding of 108 within the context of the witchcraft bill would definitely affect the president's position on the anti-gay or the LGBT bill. And I agree with them because it's the same, a law not putting a charge on the public purse thing. The same clause. And for us, in society, even for the LGBT bill, it imposes even more responsibilities in terms of investments from the public purse on the government than the witchcraft one. And if that is so, then if the witchcraft bill, which I believe imposes a much lesser charge on the public purse, has found challenges, within the context of Article 108 at the presidency, then how much more the LGBT bill, which seeks to, criminalize and even imprison, people who participate in LGBT activities. We all know that LGBT is a bigger issue when it comes to the numbers, when it comes to the prevalence of LGBT and its activity and its related activities. It's a bigger scope, involves a lot of people than the witchcraft bill. And so the likelihood that it will impose a bigger charge on the public purse is higher than the witchcraft bill. So if on the basis that the private members bill is imposing a charge on the public purse has affected the president's decision or actions on the witchcraft bill, then a similar one obviously wouldn't be too surprising when it comes to the president assenting to the dictum. So those are concerns that are genuine that have been raised, and that I hope that government will have to, at this point, seek to synchronize their interest with the private members bill. Government should look at looking at the possibility of adapting the bill. Okay, rather than seeing it as a private members bill that is coming before it. If government sees that bill as a private member's bill,
right? So government
it is
sees
clear in our mind that it will not be assented to,
right,
based on the principle of the witchcraft bill, which is hinged on Article 108.
Quickly,
but let me say that I'm surprised that he didn't go further to indicate whether government was going to pass the bill or not. Government was going to assent to the bill or not after Parliament has passed it.
You think this is not from a genuine place?
Come again?
I'm asking whether the view of the minister isn't from a genuine place.
Yeah, because all we need from him is the assurance that government will assent to the bill when passed. That's what we need from him. Yeah, so I'm not too sure even if he, the minister, has the capacity to give that assurance. He doesn't.
Right.
It's a matter that rests with the president.
Right.
But any word from the executive surrounding that bill should be towards that direction, assurances or not, so that we don't, go through all this and meet that hiccup.
Sorry. Let's quickly move on to the GPRT petitioning government on the recently passed emission levy bill, and they're saying that the Ghana Private Road Transport Union has presented a proposal to Parliament seeking a reconsideration of the emission levy bill to be implemented this year. Now, the bill approved by Parliament imposes an annual 100 Ghana cedis charge on petrol and diesel car owners starting this month. The GPRTU is concerned about the additional tax burden on the transport sector and has even threatened to raise fares by at least 60%. Abbas Moro, the Industrial Relations Officer, has expressed optimism about a favorable outcome for their proposal in an interview, with City FM. And let me just quote him and then we'll quickly do this. And he says, we officially resume on January 12th from the Christmas break. So we are hopeful that at the time we resume, we might have received a letter from Parliament. In an institution like Parliament, you can't write to them and they will overlook it. And definitely we shall hear from them. When we hear from them, we can continue from there. Let's hope for the best, because the country is for all of us and we all wish to live happily. I mean, if you say pollution and you say emission somewhere, I think it's the grammar that has been changed. Well, I think what they're trying to say is this charging them for the emission of emissions coming from the vehicle should be reconsidered. Do you agree with them that this should be withdrawn?
Well, this is not a new tax. I mean, in other jurisdictions, in Europe, in many countries, they call it carbon tax. Others call it pollution tax. Has various names. So I'm barring the nomenclature. I mean, it's not too new to have such a tax. But they've raised issues that I think are cogent. I don't think they are saying that the tax is not important. But they have issues with the rates, they have issues with the entry strategy and all that. I think those are issues that can be addressed, or that should have been addressed before we got here. But it doesn't in any way invalidate the process or make it quite a deficit of stakeholder support. Everyone wants to ensure that we have a progressive carbon tax system in Ghana. But beyond that, my question is this: how does collecting taxes, I mean, a straight jacket, 100 cedi from every vehicle owner a year, how does collecting such taxes, lower the emission of CO2 into the environment? How does it? That's the question I ask. And secondly, how will the taxes be applied to reduce emissions? Because you have one car that is emitting within the acceptable CO2 levels. And you have another car, like a car which was leading me yesterday, driving from American House to ARS. And the whole, around 11:30, and the whole street was dark, just one pickup vehicle. And I asked myself, so how did this car get, DVLA licensing and certification? You understand? So are you going to charge the person who buys a new car today, a car which is less than 5 years old? Are you going to charge the person 100 cedis? 1.6 horsepower engine, and then charge this chimney on the road and 500 cedis. No. So issues of progressiveness in the tax equity immediately arises. And then the bigger question I asked earlier: how will the tax be applied to ensure that CO2 emissions are minimized and our environment much more protected? Our tax, it appears that we collect taxes. Yes, we collect taxes, collecting taxes for certain purposes, but you find out that the taxes are collected without impacting on the very objects based on which the taxes were imposed. Look at our road levies. You collect road tax, you collect tolls, and then the road on which the toll is being collected. And I always give the example of the Oyibidodoa road. Look at the Amaya toll booth. The road is not too different from the road to Golgotha, but there's a booth there, and they've been collecting toll on that booth for years. But that very stretch is terrible. So sometimes there's a huge disconnect between the essence for which taxes are introduced, and then what invariably happens after the taxes are collected. And so those are the kinds of things that I think we need to iron out and be clear in our minds that when this cash is collected, after it has been equitably or progressively deployed, when it is collected, activities A, B, C, D, E are the activities that the cash proceeds will be invested, the tax proceeds will be invested in to ensure that our environment is enhanced. But if we are only going to pay 100 cedis for the working chimney I saw yesterday to be on the road and have an unrestricted or wholesale licensing and certification by the DVLE, just because they paid 100 cedis, then we'll be collecting taxes and making revenue sense, but will not be making any impact on the environment and would have been at square one. So those discussions are very, very important for the tax to have an environmental impact.
Okay, so we do our last story on My Joy Online, and this is highlights in the educational sector, which is your purview, by the way. In the year 2023, started with the management of the University of Ghana announcing an increment of fees for the 2022-2023 academic year. And the university said the new fees were based on rates approved by Parliament, communicated through the education, the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, that's GTEC. Also later in that month, Reverend Dr. Sylvester Algaga, headmaster of Boko Senior High School, said some staff of the school were seeking transfers due to the conflict in the Boko enclave. The second half of the year commenced with the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, together with the European Union delegation to Ghana, launching 16 million euros support to Ghana's technical and vocational education and training sector. The program does support to the transformation of TVET system in Ghana, was to expand structures and develop skills to improve TVET education rollout in the country. Mr. Sari, you've been in this space for, and of course, the Executive Secretary of the Africa Education Watch. What has been really your highlights of 2023 in the education sector? Has it left it in a good state or a bad state?
Well, that's a difficult question, right? Anyway, I think that it's been largely good. A lot of progress has been made in a year. Obviously, there are challenges, but I think that our performance surpassed a lot of the envisioned challenges. I think we performed better than I thought in many areas. And in many areas that we could have done better, we are still walking instead of running. Because 2023 was an inception year for the IMF program, we were expecting the program as usual to hit us hard on the hiring of labor, hiring of teachers. We know of the net hiring freeze policy the IMF always, encourages governments to adapt as part of its expenditure rationalization program under a fund program. And so, yes, we expected that to hit the teacher supply hard. And then a lot of compensation-related items. We expected to see constrictions in spending. Yes, it did happen. We've seen some, restrictions on employment, but we also saw major government programs in the sector being implemented in spite of the economic challenges. We saw the free senior high school program being implemented. I think this year is a year I heard very little about food issues and students being hungry and there's no food in the schools. We heard very little of such issues, and I think it's a pointer that funding has improved relative to the previous years. So even though there was an IMF program, we've seen an improvement in liquidity, budget credibility compared to previous years. Free basic education, we've seen textbooks, 65% of core textbooks being supplied 4 years after the introduction of a new curriculum, and I thought that was also great. Even though delayed for long, we saw some action being done on textbooks this year. We've seen a lot of action at the TVET level. It's actually been a continuum, from the past 2 years. We've seen increases in TVET in the second cycle institutions. Our TVET to secondary ratio is now over 12%. It used to be about 5% some 3 years ago. We are not seeing a trend of decline in access to secondary and technical education. We are seeing appreciation, and that is also great. We see evidence of high acceptance of policies like the free senior high school program, which is great. And so I think that the year may have had issues. We could have done better in the area of infrastructure. At the basic level, we did 1/10 in terms of infrastructure at the basic level. And then at the secondary level, we also saw very little activity within the infrastructure space. I know these are all due to funding challenges. Senior high school projects that are ongoing are not being completed at the pace which we expected that they should have. We still have double track lingering because most of these projects have not been completed. That's a major cause of the double track's presence in our system. Teacher education, we didn't see too much progress when it comes to infrastructure in the College of Education. Hostel projects that government promised to have completed. Government promised to complete by August as part of, the implementation of the BEd program and then the upgrading of colleges to full tertiary institutions, etc. We are in January, and the majority of the sites work is actually at foundation level. Some of the sites you won't even see a foundation. That's totally stalled.
Right.
With the exception of only 3 sites. So investment in infrastructure hasn't been too encouraging, with the exception of investment in STEM schools and then some ongoing second cycle projects. And so we hope that in this year we'll see much more action in the area of investment in infrastructure. I'm informed that the GNS will be recruiting about 24,000 teachers. That's great. Having that number recruited within an IMF program means that government appreciates that we have classrooms with our teachers.
Right. Kofi, so we do this very fast. We move on to the graphic online portal.
I thought you talk about the UG fees. The UG fees is important. The parliament.
Then let's do that very briefly so we can move on. We are really
briefly. So I'm passionate about tertiary fees. Parliament has approved new fees. I don't think the increment is astronomical. The challenge is that the baseline is high. You need about 3,000 cedis or 4,000 cedis to be able to walk into an institution, pay your admission fee, and then sort out accommodation, or about 5,000 cedis. And the challenge is that poor people from the low-income quintile households, who have household incomes of less than 15,000 a year, will struggle to finance tertiary education. Our student loan scheme is not targeted at prospective students. It is targeted at already existing students. The challenge we are having with the free senior high school programs transition from secondary to tertiary is that about 38% of people are leaving secondary to tertiary. We must improve on that number. You can't improve on that number if you don't have a bursary support scheme that helps poor people who cannot pay these fees and become students. So we have advised the government that as it has removed the guarantor system from the student loan process and introduced a Ghana card guarantor-free one, there has to be a commensurate increase in the financing of the student loan scheme so that those who apply get funded. At present, only 60% of applicants are getting funding because of limited funds to the student loan transfer. We've also advised the government that the student loan should not target students alone. It should also target prospective students, such that if Kofi Asare from Wawase obtains admission to Legon and requires 5,000 to enter Legon, the student loan trust fund should be possible for Kofi Asare to apply to the student loan within 48 hours, get a response, and on the basis of that response, he should be able to admit to honor his admission at the University of Ghana.
Okay.
So that later the student loan trust fund will pay University of Ghana. That is the greatest point of need of Ghanaian tertiary students, when you have to honor an admission, not for after you have become a student. So we need a reform of the student loan system to reposition it towards the needs of prospective students, one, and strengthen its support for students, and ensure that the loan arrives in school at the beginning of the academic year, not after the academic year.
I understand these are issues you're really passionate about, but because we're a bit behind time, I think we'll have to move really quickly and do this briefly. So let's move on to graphic, and this will be really fast. This is the president himself also speaking and giving his New Year message, and he says that I wish all Ghanaians a happy and prosperous 2024. Even though our nation is not yet completely out of the woods, I am confident that with hard work and determination, Ghana will make it, and collectively we will secure our futures. Happy New Year. Mr. Asare, does this stoke any form of hope for you in this year?
Well, I have hope that things will improve. But my hope always diminishes when the president is doing the same thing over and over again and is expecting different outcomes. We must change the way we do things in this country if we are expecting, new outcomes. There have been calls from his own party, pointing to a possible reshuffle. He should listen to those calls, because we've seen a lot of inaction from many of his appointees. And the talk that this is the best team, I disagree. I think that in every marathon, if you have an opportunity of changing and bringing in fresh limbs, you should never despise that opportunity. And so I think the president should listen to that and get more fresh blood in the system and keep the system running. We need to see a lot more improvement in the way public resources are expended. We haven't seen the IMF program we are in. We haven't seen significant efforts by government to reduce government expenditure and reduce the waste. We are seeing huge exemptions to companies in spite of the passage of an exemptions law. We don't. The examples of resource, the examples of spending inefficiency and waste, it's too much. It's too much to give me. To make me believe the president when he says that things are going to be, different. We want to see things being done in a different way. We want to see much more emphasis on, reducing the size of government, reducing the cost of government, spending efficiency, locative efficiency. Then we will have the conviction that things will change. And we want to see a new direction towards creating jobs than this approach of setting up funds to give to companies. And then.
All right, Kofi, I think we can now move to BBC Africa page. On the Africa page, we have Congo president declared winner of chaotic election. It says, official says, Felix Tshisekedi wins a landslide with 73% of the vote, while the opposition calls for a rerun. Also, Ugandan athletes stabbed to death in Kenya. And Benjamin, who was only 34, who reached the semifinals of the 2012 London Olympics in the 3,000-meter steeplechase has been stabbed to death. And also the bit about Clueless on computers, the teens aiming to reboot and all that, all on the BBC Africa page. What really, briefly, your views on happenings in Africa? What do you have to say about that? Briefly.
Tshisekedi is declared to have won landslide, 73%. And so we know how politics in that country has played. If you watch the press conference that the churches were the election monitors, and they held a presser to give their verdict on the free and fairness of the election process. And it wasn't a good one. But this is Africa. So I'm not too surprised that the veteran politician, has been declared winner by the Electoral Commission. I think that we need to, the opposition party will have, if they think they have issues, and indeed there are issues, the right quarters must be exploited, for redress. I prefer them to go to court and then contest the results based on the evidence they have that the elections weren't free and fair, than to make noise on the streets, which doesn't solve the problem. So that is my advice to the people of Dr. Congo. But I think that our electoral commission should be much more up and doing. Sometimes you read the reports of independent observers, especially local independent observers, and then you read the electoral commission's report, and you wonder whether they were monitoring the same thing. It's high time we begin to, patch up, synchronize the two views. It shouldn't be seen that the electoral commission's work is just statistical, put out data regardless of how the data, was obtained. And the more we appreciate that elections must be free and fair and not just a statistical an exercise to win the statistic, the better it will be for our democracy in Africa. Because I wasn't happy about I listened to the press conference that the churches held after their monitoring. I thought that there were widespread irregularities, and that should have happened. And so I encourage the opposition parties who are obviously not happy with the outcome to use the courts to pursue their grievances.
Right. We're grateful, Kofi Asare, for your time here on the AM show. And that's how we round up the news review segment of the show. We'll be right back after these breaks. Welcome back. I am sure you set high goals for 2023, but failed to achieve them. I know I'm guilty of that. Well, you promised to change some negative behavior and attitudes, but gave up along the way. You may also have set plans for 2024 and don't know how to carry them through. Well, we have someone who has seen it all and is experienced enough to share some wisdom nuggets to help us go through the year. Renowned motivational speaker and playwright, whose insights have empowered millions. Uncle Ibo White joins me via Zoom to share invaluable perspectives on resilience, hope, and charting a path forward. Uncle Ibo White, you're welcome to the AM show.
Fishiapa.
I feel conversation. I hope you're well.
Oh, I'm doing very well. And may 2024 be your best year yet, and the best year for all of us.
Amen, amen. I receive it. I know you're very busy, but so far, how's your new year?
It's been good. I had a very good night yesterday in prayer, so I think I'm in good shape.
Great, wonderful to hear about that. But let me take you to last year. What will be your highlights? How was it for you?
Oh, definitely receiving the Head of State Award. In December. Okay. That would be my highlight. It's an honor I don't take lightly. That was the award for Life Icon. It's the award I took alongside my boss, Mr. Kwesi Chum, and then one of my mentors, Professor Emeritus Wellington.
Well, congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Well, let's delve into the conversation, Uncle Ebo. And every new year, we set resolutions, we make plans, hoping to achieve them by December. Last year, I set some goals for myself, but up till date, I'm yet to carry some of them through. Do you think we need to restructure resolutions for the new year? Is it something we should continue to do?
I think the important thing for all of us to aim at for any year is to live in the present and to live fully. However life throws itself at you. The challenge with life is that it doesn't often go the way we want it. It doesn't go according to plan. And if you don't have a certain flexibility, what will happen is that something goes wrong and you think, oh, my year is doomed. When you could always reset, you could always restart, you could always come back again. Even if you fall, you can always get up. If we can have that and just make up our minds that, you know what, I am alive today. I may not always be alive, but today I am alive. Not everything is going well for me today, but there are many things that are also going well for me.
Okay.
So I have a choice. Which one do I focus in? I would rather that you live in the present and live happily than to have 10 things you are chasing and you think that, I'm on course. Because you know what could happen is that after you chase those 10 things and achieve them, you realize that they did not bring you happiness. They did not bring you the desired joy. They did not bring you the fulfillment you wanted. And so I would rather that today, see how much you can just be yourself and enjoy life, the gift of life that you've been given. Today, look around you and see your loved ones. Do they even know you love them? Have you said it to them? How have you expressed love to somebody today? Today, have you put a smile on someone's face? Today, have you done some of the things you love to do? Because that is all there is. Because, listen, we lost a friend, a family friend, yesterday.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yes, that's
He didn't make it to the new year.
No.
Oh,
now,
so sorry.
This is someone who had just come on retirement and was looking forward to enjoying retirement.
Oh,
that's sad. Has suspended living to retirement. Now retirement is here, she is not. And so I can't stress this enough. Today, any day you wake up and it's called today, give your best to anything. Live your best life. Don't postpone, don't wait, because there's no better time than today, than now. So if you want to make that call to say to somebody, I love you, do it. If you want to make that call to apologize to somebody, there's no better time than today to do it. If you want to tell somebody how much the person how grateful you are for the person and for what the person has done for you, today, right now, do it. If you want to read that book, don't postpone. If you want to wear that dress, wear it. Otherwise, when you are gone, somebody will come and wear it for you.
Indeed, but you make it sound so easy. So does that mean we shouldn't make resolutions? I mean, yes, what you're saying is very important, but I believe that we also need to plan and put our life in some kind of perspective. Or you don't agree?
Yes. No. There must be focus for your life. You must know where you are going, because if you do not know where you are going, the benefit is that you never get lost, but you also never get there.
Okay.
So yes, it's important to know where, what you want your life to be, but in the context of that, let that one not consume you.
Okay.
Because we need to understand that we are human beings. We are not human doings.
Right. So
we are human beings, not human doings.
How then do we how do we navigate losing steam, when we try to focus? But then along the way, things happen. Then
yes,
you give up. It's like, I'm just, it just fizzles out. And then it becomes life as usual. How do we maintain the momentum?
Well, it's like, the strategy I am putting forward is that I've woken up today. I reset my life. I reset my focus.
Right.
If it is a focus that I'm still passionate about, I continue pursuing it. If it's a focus I've outgrown, or I know better and I realize that, this goal I set myself is too low, I reset. I move on. But in the context of celebrating the fact that I'm fortunate to be alive today, because sometimes we take it so much for granted that, by June, who told you you'll be here by June? Who has guaranteed you June? But you've been guaranteed today because you are here.
So are you saying we should plan on a daily basis or for daily basis instead of maybe a month or a year?
Let's have a broad thing. So I have a 5-year plan.
Okay.
I know what I want to do today. I have my goals for today. Fortunately, my life has become so stabilized that I know I have to write and produce 4 plays for this year.
Whoa.
I want to put out a book on my birthday, on my 70th birthday in July.
Akle, are you almost 70?
Yes, I'll be 70 in July.
You don't say.
I'm saying.
You look so young. You don't even look it.
Well, I feel it. So I have all those things. But I wake up today, and the thing that was the biggest focus for me was to ensure that my household was happy.
Okay.
My household knew that they were cherished. Mm-hmm. Do you understand me? That was very, very important for me. I woke up today and I wanted to do the things I enjoy doing. So read the scriptures, not because it is required of me to read, but because I enjoy spending time with scriptures. When I finish with you, I'll be on Joy FM interacting with Kojo and his team and Mama V and all of them. And that is also fun to do. Okay. And then after that, I turn my attention to my staff. But while doing all that, I have the goal that I have 4 plays to write, but they will not rule my life.
Okay.
My life will be ruled by a quest for love and for joy and for peace. And that is what matters for me.
Wonderful. But before I let you off, what are you planning? I mean, it's been a while I went to a play. Is anything in the works?
Yes, we have the festival continuing today. We started the Christmas weekend, but today we're bringing people naked in bed. And then tomorrow we continue with Unhappy Wives, Confused Husbands, all at the National Theatre, 4 and 8 p.m. And then the weekend after New Year, that is beginning from 6th, 7th, and 8th, we also have 3 different plays on those days. So there's a lot going on. And you have you have 5 tickets for yourself.
Oh, wow. I'm so grateful.
Come and redeem them at the gate. When you get there, I'll be there to make sure you get your tickets.
Certainly, I'll come. You've made my day. Thank you so much, Uncle Ebo. And we are so
you're
happy.
Welcome.
We are so happy you could make time because I know you're very busy and you've been working really hard to get these plays out there. Thank you for agreeing to speak to us this morning. Very grateful.
And once again, the joy you bring the rest of us every morning.
Oh.
Your tagline is the program that is worth waking up for, and you make it a program really, really worth waking up for.
Thank you.
May God bless and protect you and provide richly for you and for all you care for.
Thank you.
Afishapa once again.
Afishapa, we are grateful for your life as well. We pray that you continue to be here for us. And that was Uncle Ebo giving us insights into how we should plan our year. Remember to love your loved ones. And if you want to wear that dress, go ahead and wear it. We'll be right back with sports. Welcome back. You're still watching the AM show, and just gone by, we've had Uncle Ebo White giving us some wisdom nuggets about how to live our 2024. We'll also be getting into some interesting discussions with Walasi and Mensa, who are both musicians, and you don't want to miss that. But before then, let's get to town and get interactive with some of our Ghanaians in the public light. We'll be doing that on Citizens Microphone with Kenneth Jesse, who is out there currently interacting with them.
Very fast for others, but for some, it was a normal year. We are in circle to ask people about their New Year's resolution for 2023, whether they were able to achieve it. And moving on to 2024, what new set of resolutions have they set for themselves? You're live on Joy News. Welcome. What's your name?
My name is Blessed Deku.
Right. Blessed, were your New Year's resolution for 2023 realized?
It was great, more than the last year.
Right. And have you set a new set of resolutions for this year?
Oh, not yet. Not really. But I enjoyed it. Right. More than last year.
What made you enjoy it?
Well, I went out and I was off work and stuff. But last year, I didn't go off and stuff. So I was okay.
Okay. Thank you. Let me come to this gentleman. What was the highlight for you in 2023? What was something that you dreamed of so much that you were able to achieve in 2023?
Well, last year I was dreaming of getting big things ahead of me, but I couldn't get it that way. So this year I'm expecting to have a supernatural speed of what I was expecting last year, which I couldn't get it. And I'm sure that I will make it this year.
What is the supernatural speed you're talking about?
Supernatural speed, like I am in terms of money, academics, yep. So I'm expecting it to be big and fast. Yeah, than what I was expecting it to be.
Okay, you are a young person. We are in election year 2024. Just last year, the district level assembly elections, we witnessed low voter turnout from young people. Are you expecting to vote this year?
Well, yeah, I'm expecting to vote this year because I'm a citizen. As a citizen, you have to show that you are a concerned citizen. So your votes count. You won't sit home expecting someone to vote and then you are expecting the person that you want to win that election. Nah. So you have to go there and vote to support that particular person you want him or her to win for that election.
Okay.
Yeah, so
let me come to you. If you were to sum up 20, right? Make us say he wants to speak to you. Me person bisa say o sum up 2023 in one word. Yeah, because 2023 kuye mawana.
Better than last year.
Okay.
Better because beginning ending but ending there cool pa.
Okay. At the end that wa koma so 2023 a be mu ma unti I say better.
I'm try say me ne onyankopon ntam no I say be tight. I'm 23 no but I say be person na me pe no.
Right. Okay. So he tells me that he wanted to draw closer to God in the year 2023, and truly that came to pass. So that is his highlight for 2023. Yeah, we are 2024. Abatuafi, Obatuaba.
Oh, min so babim.
Adentia.
I would say na there.
Why now to man or dada untia?
I mean pamba no be kano mamusa.
Why now to man or dada untia also untimi?
And I can't tell.
You can't tell.
Yeah.
Adentia.
Oh, meet me one debate. Near me expect no ambamusa. And to miss
what were you expecting?
And come here senka any man anka enya no be but still I'm quite senior me no.
But say what your mind baso so now to your memoir say about to about do huji movie because say wo wa nkoto a we be wa koto obetimi ayi okanini a wo mpene ama wo.
Okay. And the credits mimi hu ni say anytime be me vote a mimi ti me pone na ombeka no emba mu say na me hwehwe no no. Ti ma mu say e ade bi a nada into no.
Okay, but that's it. Boss, welcome to Joy News.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. In 2023, what was the highlight for you? 2023, afi etwam ye e de pa na eto wakoma so na ebe mma wo a oka say oh afi we de akoyama.
Oh, 2023 actually was a kind of a great year to say because it was hard, but through that hardship we all learned our lessons. So I can say that 2023 have a great lesson to let me say we had a lot of achievement in 2023, so which have also passed us to 2024. So
right. We are barely 8 hours into 2024. Does it look promising for you?
Yeah, we have already made it. Yeah, we already made it. So because during our, I said 2023 was also bad and it was also kind of lesson to us, so we have already learned it, understand? So now we have transformed, so we have moved to a different level.
In this year 2024, what is that one resolution that you're expecting to happen for you? What do you expect 2024 to bring to you?
Yeah, this 2024 we expect more open doors, if I may say. Yeah, we expect to get goodies, and also as the government side are concerned, let them also assist from the side which they are supposed to do, so that we can benefit.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Let me go to my brother here. Welcome to Joy News. Right, what was the highlight of 2023 for you, the year that just went by?
The highlight of 2023 was that it wasn't easy for everybody based on the crisis all over the world and the rest. So it wasn't easy. So anybody that made it to 2024 should be grateful to God Almighty and expect a lot than the 2023. That the 2024 will be more favorable to all of us living on this earth.
Okay. Where did you spend New Year's Eve?
I spent my New Year Eve at Labari Beach.
Labari Beach?
Yeah.
Is that a tradition? Is that something you do all the time on New Year's Eve?
It's not the thing I do all the time, but I just felt I should try it this 2024. It's not. I'm not been there before, but I just felt I should try, and it was fun.
Right.
Okay. That shows that this 2024 will be favorable to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There are a lot of people, majority of the people in this country who usually go to church on the 31st, you know, to thank God for how far He's seen them through, and you decided to spend yours at the Labadi Beach.
Yeah, it's a choice. Though within me, I know that I was very thankful to God Almighty for giving me the privilege to see 2024.
Right.
So a lot of people went to church, but due to some activities and the rest,
right.
I can't lie, I wasn't able to be in the church.
Okay.
But I thank God for making me to see the 2024.
Right.
That's just it.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, Mamiesi, these are some of the comments of people on the streets of Circle. It is not the usually busy, circle that we all know, because a lot of people went to church, others went to parties, others went to the beaches, like my friend here was telling us. And also today is a holiday, so a lot of people are deciding to rest in their homes, for the next day, that is Tuesday. So from Circle in Accra, my name is Kenneth Jesse. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Kenneth. And it's interesting, the views from the streets there. We're still listening to AM Show. And as I told you before, we'll be having two musicians join us in our discussions on national issues. We'll be having Walasi in the studio and Mensa will be joining us via Zoom. But before we go there, we have sports for you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
Very well.
It's been a while.
Yes. Merry Christmas in advance.
Thanks very much for your time. We are grateful that you gave an opportunity to have this conversation with you.
Yeah.
We've heard of Dr. Prince Pambo, what you do for sportsmen and women, but many of us barely have an idea about the kind of person Dr. Prince Pambo is, how he started and how he got here.
All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity to dig into my life, if I should put it. So, like you rightly said, what everybody knows is the products we put out there, but what created a product. So, Dr. Prince Pambo did not start as Dr. Prince Pambo, probably started as Kofi, which is the name I'll be called at home. Okay. I am the last of 8 children. Okay. So my mom and dad had 9 of us, and I happen to be the last. So if I am an Akan, then they would say Nkrumah. But I come from the northern part of the country, 100% northerner, from the Bolibamboy constituency. Oh, okay. So that puts me in the new Savannah region. Okay. Now, born in Sunyani, so I grew up a bit in Sunyani and continued education, the typical Saito education in my village up north. And so I lost 2 siblings. Jama.
Jama, okay.
J-A-M-A, yeah. Not German. So it's around the Bui Dam enclave, okay. You know, so we are caught in between Gonjal and the Banda, that side of town. A very kind of hybrid ethnic group called Mo. Yes, so I have 6 sisters. I lost 1 brother and a sister. So that's who I am. Started my basic education from the village, like I said, and then moved on to Tamale, where I had my secondary education. I didn't attend secondary school, actually. I attended a minor seminary. Okay. All boys were being trained to become Roman fathers, so I attended St. Charles Minor Seminary. Okay, so there are quite a number of people around, I'm sure, who would identify with St. Charles. Yeah. A very small school.
But very, very famous, actually.
Yes. I think my class, almost all the science students in my class, apart from those who went and became Roman fathers, the rest are doctors and engineers. Okay. So, yes, I'm in quite a good school. So I moved from the minor seminary. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to the major seminary to become a Roman father because my dad had only 1 son, which is me.
Oh, okay.
So, and he was a king. So, if I became a Roman father, that meant the lineage is gone. And I'm not sure I regret not being a Roman father. I'm happy where I am. So I moved from there to KNUST. Our time, the K and then N were not there. It was UST, where I did my degree in human biology and then progressed to do the MBCHB, which is the medical school. So I attended, had my basic medical training with KNUST. Completed, did fellowship there. Life was leading me towards trauma emergency, you know, that was how I was looking at it. I mean, sports medicine wasn't part of the consideration. So, but of course, even pre-university, family wanted me to do pharmacy, I wanted to do medicine, family wanted me to attend Legon, I wanted to attend KNUST. So it was a whole mix up, you know, but then I pulled through medical school. Then along the line, an interest in sports medicine just popped up, just like that, and I got an opportunity to get a national scholarship to go train, because we don't train sports physicians in Ghana my time. So I then had my sports medicine training with the University of Nottingham, UK.
Okay.
And then, so really that set me on this journey, because there I met great people who were medical officers for FIFA, and then I came back to this country somewhere 2011, and then I came with a FIFA project called the FIFA 11 for Health. So we use football to train children in schools and also to pass on health messages, because FIFA identified the power of football, and then they realized that if you attached a message to a football technique, kids never forgot it. So we used that tool and we ran a very good project here in quite a number of schools. So basically, yes, this has been my journey so far. Married some almost 20 years ago to one wife. And
you have to emphasize that.
Yes. I'm a northerner, and people believe we are capable, or we are allowed to have more than one.
Especially also being a prince.
Being a prince, yes. But then my own dad, who is late now, though he was a king, he had one wife.
Okay.
So I don't even have step siblings. So all 9 with one woman. So I couldn't do it differently. So maybe an assurance to my wife that it will forever be one wife.
Yeah.
and no,
she's gotten the message.
No side issues, and blessed with 3 lovely daughters at the moment. So yes, this has been my life journey.
And as a prince growing up, what kind of treatment did you get?
So I think my prince was a proper prince, to be honest. I grew up in a village, but really not hardship. You know, normally when people describe, so I had attended Saito, attended a school, a village in the north, then the only thing that comes to mind is that, okay, so I walked barefooted at some point, I had a torn pants and all that. I think when people want to raise funds, they throw in these cards, you know, but I mean, my village upbringing, I'm sure was better than Accra upbringing. I mean, the son of the king, so with sisters all over the place. So really, I didn't get to suffer, and it was quite. I mean, I grew up in a palace, so I didn't have to lift a thing, and unfortunately, that's making me struggle because I can't cook.
Oh.
But my sisters will do everything
for you,
including washing your things.
Your stuff.
So I think the positive aspect of that is it put me at that level that I needed to work hard to make sure that I can afford that comfortable life that I know. You know, so okay, now your sisters are not there to wash your things. What do? You don't marry somebody's daughter and ask her to wash your things. They should be able to buy a washing machine early in life. You should, you know, those basic things. So that has been it, really. Yeah.
Okay.
That upbringing was a good one.
Yeah, I get it. But is that how the name Prince came about, or you had a different name? Or?
No. So, like I said, last born, when my dad gave birth to me, he was a king. So
you were just named Prince.
Yes, this is a prince.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a title, it's a name.
It's a title, and it's a name as well. You spoke about sports medicine, and that's the area that many of us know you.
Yes.
And you also spoke about how you came back in 2011, and you spoke about the project that you came back to Ghana with. How would you describe that project?
It was very successful. I mean, it was one of the flagship programs under Sepp Blatter and Professor Yeji Vorak, who was leading football medicine as at the time with FIFA, and of course when Blatter had to go, and then quite a number of his top officials had to also bow out just because of loyalty, you know. But we ran that program here from 2012, I think, all the way to 2016, and we've been to every region in this country. We trained a lot of teachers, and then we used those teachers to train these school children. And up to date, I mean, if you met some of those teachers and the children who went through it, they still remember the messages. We're teaching them things like respect the girl child, respect your classmate, wash your hands before eating, and then we threw in things around protection and all that. And we linked them to football skills like heading, dribbling, defense.
I remember the heading and all that.
Exactly, you know, so it was quite okay. And of course, it was a kind of a corporate social responsibility thing, fully sponsored by FIFA, using the FA. So we use PE teachers who were also kind of football inclined, and we use some of the GFA development coaches. So we actually worked hand in hand with the technical department of the FA. Yes,
which was headed by Otia Kenten.
Otia Kenten, yes. So that was quite a good one. And of course, I mean, one of the educational bits I left out was somewhere 2015-16. Then I developed an interest in the area of sports cardiology. Issues to do with sudden cardiac death. I mean, how come Black African players were dropping dead more than our Caucasian brothers and all that? So I did a proposal. Again, I got full scholarship from Ghana Education Trust Fund and FIFA and GFA to do a PhD in sports cardiology. So this was a collaboration between myself and my colleagues in Germany, Saarbrücken. So my supervisors were Professor Tim Meyer and Jürgen Schahag. Tim Meyer was the senior doctor for the senior side, the German male national team. Schahag was for the under 21. As at the time, I was the team doctor for Ghana under 20.
Exactly.
So we did that collaboration where we did ECGs and echoes of the hearts of our football players here, and then we compared it to the hearts of the Caucasian players in the West, and we saw great differences. So it's one of my huge interests at the moment, which has put me in one of the new FIFA consensus groups at the moment, involved in developing a consensus paper to guide the screening of adolescent football players when it comes to their pre-season training or pre-season screening or pre-competition screening, exactly what we should pick and the kind of questions we should ask. Currently, we are involved in that project, and I happen to be one of 2 doctors from Africa. I think we are globally anything around 10, 12 doctors working on this project, and it's of interest.
You mentioned the under 20 bit when you went to do the PhD in
Germany. Sports cardiology.
Sports cardiology. You're already working with the Ghana Football Association as a team doctor for under 20. At what point did you start working with the senior with the national teams of the FA?
So I think I started working with national teams from 2012.
Oh wow!
Yes. So I came in 2011 and was involved in these FIFA projects, and it was GFA collaboration and all that. So that I think sold me to the FA. And in 2012, you know, GFA, they would do their normal reshuffle. So I was a new entry, and then the then president and his executive committee thought I was quite young, I mean, really. But they gave the opportunity to start with under 20, and I think it was a very vibrant team. The under 20 had gone to conquer the world in 2009, and then Bobo was still the coach in 2012. And our first assignment was nice. Africa, we won the silver. We played finals with Egypt and went to the world, and we won bronze in 2013 in Turkey. 2015, we were in New Zealand. I think we didn't impress so much, but it was a good time.
That was the tournament, Mali.
Exactly. I think we were very complacent as a team. Maybe. I mean, I'm not a technical person, but they were just too good for us. So.
But oftentimes, now I'll come back to the medical aspect. But oftentimes, when you're on the bench and Ghana is losing, how do you feel?
I don't know how to describe the feeling, but for we the medics, it's when the game is ongoing, you can't feel anything than to look out for injuries. Okay. So your mind is, okay, why is this player not working the way we want him to work? Why is he not able to run well? So you are thinking into the next game. You are thinking into what you will do after the game.
So you look at for performance.
Exactly. That's what you do. So really, I mean, I've been on a bench and players score goals and I don't get to know who scored the goal, because at the time maybe the goal is happening, I'm actually looking at another player, all right? Or a player goes and 1-2, okay, you go there. So you go in, see and come out, but you are still thinking. Because mostly, I mean, 90% of the players will tell you we can play, but you come back and say, can you really go? You know, and the coaches will be looking at you. It's funny because when they are playing and the coaches feel this guy should have this kind of speed, it's not going, then the coaches will turn and look at you a bit. You know, so they say, okay, does the guy have an injury that I didn't pick? You know what I mean? What's happening? Did he eat too much? You know, so those dynamics are there. So the typical fans are worried with the goals. Okay, we are losing. We get to mourn the losses after the match. You know, so I've heard comments. Sometimes you just enter the dressing room and say, so we've lost again? You know what I mean? That's when it dawns on you. Yeah, and you also get to know that, okay, you have a lot of work to do in the medical room post games. I mean, sometimes you work till 4 a.m. just to make sure that people are fair, especially if it's a tournament situation, all right, because at the end of the game, some players are injured. Now you are thinking of the scans you have to do, which players are going to be ruled out. Are you able to fix players within 48, 72 hours for the coach to use them? You know, so those are normally your preoccupation. The outcomes, of course, yes, you are interested because, of course, there is material benefit to that as well. Yes, so yeah, we feel the same thing any normal Ghanaian will feel.
But how challenging is it? You just mentioned something. The player is not putting up a certain speed and the coach will turn and look at you. You are taking responsibility for the performance of the player on the pitch.
That's what you signed for. You know, I mean, so the coach knows, and most good coaches would discuss maybe their lineups with you, not that I mean before, but then once they bring the players up, or you would have to let them know. I mean, a day or two before they'll ask, okay, is everybody fit? So, for instance, what we do currently, every morning you would have a medical meeting with the coaches. So the coaching staff and the medical staff every morning, sometimes 7 a.m., you normally will have a medical meeting where you have to brief them on all the medical happenings. So if you trained this evening, tonight we will work all night through in the medical room, and tomorrow morning we have to tell the coach, okay, so after training yesterday, we saw these players, everybody is fine, and today 4 or 5 p.m. they are all available to train. Or 3 players cannot train, so we will do a bit of work on the sidelines, you know, so you have those discussions. So if it's a match day -1, -2, then the coaches want to know, is every player available for me to pick my 11 and myself from? Then you say yes. All right, so you have signed that everybody's okay. And the coach knows that, okay, these guys here on the wings are supposed to be speedsters. Why are they not running well? Okay, did they have an injury that you are not aware? You understand what I mean? So once they finish, you go direct and ask.
Is it possible that a player can have an injury? We know players. Player will be injured and tell the doctor, I can play, I can play. Yeah. But is it possible for a player to have an injury and hide it away from?
So at the very top level, they don't do that. You know, they know what's at stake. You know, I mean, you know your performance as a player, and you know if you hide an injury, the performance will expose you. Like we hear, I mean, if the economy, whatever, the fundament, if we know this is what you can do, so if you hide the injury, we'll see it. So at the top level, they don't do that. They will let you know this is what I have, but then I can do this. You know, so you would have to have that frank discussion with the player and the coach and say, okay, so this player is 70% fit. So it's up to the coach to decide that player A, 70% of player A is better than 100% of player B. So this is what I choose to do. Okay, or the role I'm going to get him to play. Ideally, if it was 100%, this is what I'll get him to do. But now he's 70, this is what I'll do. Okay, so I haven't come across a situation where a player is hiding an injury from me. I think what plays out is that if the players kind of have confidence in you and know that if I tell Dr. Pambo that I have an ATFL sprain, all right, he'll fix it. Then they'll tell you, unless of course they feel that if I tell this doctor this or this therapist this, he can't even help. Okay, but then if you know, I mean, this gentleman can give me $100,000. I mean, why would you hide your poverty? So really, that is what plays out.
Well, that's quite an interesting one, because sometimes we are watching the game and we're wondering, he's not even chasing the ball.
I mean, these are human beings, and things happen, and the body, there's an extent to which we can all understand. So sometimes maybe as a first, or some player will just tell you, so yeah, I mean, I'm doing everything. I'm probably not clicking. You can't say much. And there's always the psychological part of everything as well.
And this journey has brought you to the national team, the Black Stars. How would you describe that journey so far?
So my sports medicine journey or football medicine journey has been an interesting one. So for me, it started on 3 levels. All right. So it started with the fever level. So people typically will go from the base up, okay, but then I came from the top, where I came in with a FIFA project. So I was already recognized as a doctor working with the federation, which is the governing body. You know, then I got into my association here. The my association, BGFA, presented me to the Confederation African Football. All right, so I've been involved at these 3 levels. Okay, so for some major tournaments on the continent, like the AFCONs, like the CHANs, like the maybe U17s and all that, then I have to go and work for the Confederation of African Football as a venue medical officer and a team doping control officer as well. So there, if you were in a venue, let's say Abidjan or Yamoussoukro, then all the 4 teams at that venue, the stadium there, it's your own. You have to make sure emergency medical services, everything is in place. The hospitals around, the entire medical setup, everything is fixed, and then you take charge of doping controls as well. So I've done all that. So at some point, I'm a team doctor sitting on the other side of the table. Another point, I'm the supervising doctor conducting the test. So it's been an interesting one. It's been rewarding. It's been challenging, as in positively challenging, because you need to do a lot of work to stay very significant and relevant in your industry.
What would you say has been the major challenge since you got to the senior national team level?
Okay, I'll even go to under 20. So I had one interesting challenge in under 20 where a player who was supposed to be a very good player, I mean, playing for, I think those times, Chelsea, under 20, good defender, I mean, checking all the right boxes. And then he was caught, you know, and I remember the first time he had to join camp, under 20 camp, this guy actually trained with the Black Stars, because the Black Stars were also training.
I know him.
You know, then, and there were quite some huge names following him, you know, and we were all very excited that this person was coming to play for us, you know. And I remember after that training, I was at
this was part of the 2015 under 20.
Yes, I kind of also watched him a bit. So right after the training, he came over, and I saw that his knee was swollen. So the coaches will give their technical input. Oh yeah, he's this, but this guy has a knee problem. And it will be difficult to communicate this because this was supposed to be the pillar for us. When we're traveling out of country, I said, okay, he should sit by me in the plane. I needed to have conversations. He was quite tall. He's
Papu, I know him.
Yes. Then it was still difficult for him. We played a few friendly matches. So I called him and I said, you know what, I need to get your medical documentation from your club for us to discuss XY. Those times, names were already submitted, final list. I got information from the club, and this guy had done a couple of surgeries on the knee. So my decision as a doctor was that, yes, it's going to be dangerous to have him as part of the team because he was going to take the slot where a very powerful player could occupy, but because he had a big name, so I said, okay, from my medical point, this guy cannot. Then, okay, my big people come, okay, we've submitted the name already. So I went into FIFA books. I said, okay, there's a medical reason you can change a player. So I shot out an email to FIFA and said, okay, we want to change a player. All right, and you need to support with the medical documentation. Now I got the medical documents from the players club. I needed the players' consent to send out these documents. But then you are sending it out to take him out of squad. How are you going to manage it? But I still spoke to the player. I say, you know what, we're trying to do something to protect you. So I'm sending this information to FIFA so that we'll all monitor you and see how best we can help. And he said, yes. So then the next day, we were successful to change him. Then it became a media war. The guy is playing well, and Dr. Pambo decided to change him.
In fact, they even said bribery and what.
Exactly. And this is a case the guy himself will say, I'm not injured. Because as at the time...
He actually went and tweeted that he was not injured.
Exactly. But then that's the difficulty, because as a doctor, you are not permitted to also slap media platforms with the player's medical information you had. So I had to tell him that, but I have all this information. Why are you saying this? So for me, that was quite a moment, but then I stuck to it knowing I was doing something right. Fast forward to national team, I think a build up to the World Cup, there were players you would expect to be able to come along and all that. Then injuries started happening to players. So that for me, it's always a very difficult one, to communicate to your coach that not you player A can do, but unfortunately player A cannot play. Those decisions, and sometimes you have to weigh the options. Okay, so should I can he be part of the team for me to try and see if he would get better and play? And those are the risks I don't take as a doctor, in the sense that I feel if you've given me a list of 40 players, then you are telling me they can all play. So if one is injured, I will not risk it. I'll say, look, he's injured. I can't guarantee you that if I took him for a tournament or a game, I'll turn things around. What if it doesn't happen? Then it's you, the doctor, who took an injured.
That responsibility.
Yes. So
because I remember we've had similar experiences where players were taken to a tournament, they couldn't kick a single ball. I remember, was there Anthony Annan? There was
exactly.
They went to the 2013 AFCON because they were hopeful that along the line they will be fit to play.
That's right. And it always happens when these players are at their peak. So what helps me is because I have interest when it comes to the technical aspect of football. Really, I think everybody's watching all the games now, Champions League, EPL, if you came to my home, I mean, where, you know, around this time, the males have the remotes.
Yeah.
You know, no, if you came to my home now, I mean, you watch all the Oprahs. All my TV is actually on either CNN or, I don't want to mention your station so that you feel good. You know, but Joy News or something, to be honest. I'm not very crazy about football. And it helps me because then you get to know a lot about the players. You know, this is what they can do. Purely medical. We're proud, if I should speak tree. But then if the player is injured, he's injured.
Wow.
And I've seen people come in, slot in, take opportunities, and they make big names for themselves. If you remember a player called Atama, Joseph.
Yeah, Joseph Atama Lawe.
Atama Lawe came and played. We went for a tournament where a player got injured. We had to replace, and Atama traveled. Atama was part of the team and was dropped. And then this opportunity came. He came, and that's it. That's how Atama got his international exposures. So, yeah.
You are more of the medical person. You don't care what happened to the technical aspect of it. You don't want to attach emotions.
Exactly, that's the word. No emotions, no favorite players, nothing. Very indifferent about it. I'm very emotionally attached to my sick clients that I see in my day-to-day practice.
Yeah.
That for sure. But when it comes to the football aspect, no.
Because it's an emotional game.
If you don't guard your heart and you get emotionally attached, then it will reflect in the work you do. You find yourself praying that this player should not be injured, this one, but it's 90 minutes on the pitch of play. Everybody can do it.
What were the experiences in Qatar 2022 working with these players?
So Qatar was, if I should use the word, very disciplined camp. Every player comported himself, did what technical people wanted them to do. I'm sure you didn't hear of any controversies in camp.
I mean, the medical aspect.
And on the medical aspect, at a point, I mean, Otto and his team was, okay, how did you do it? Because we had a very clean sheet. Prior to every single game we played in Qatar, of course, we played just 3 games.
Yeah.
But prior to all 3 games, we had 100% sheet for him to pick his players from. But of course, that will also be appreciating the work of my other members, Dr. Korte, the lead physiotherapist, SK Ankama, Carlos, Benjamin. These were guys who came to help, and everybody worked, plus our dietitian Renee and those who did the physical training, Romeo and all the guys, you know. So, and of course the coaching staff. When you have coaching staff who understand the scientific aspect of the game, it makes it very easy for you. So when you tell coaches that, you know what, this player cannot train today, they will understand you. This player can train today, they will understand you. Let's give this player the biggest exposure, match day -2. Okay, but match day -1, let him sit out. All right, they will give him the next exposure at the games itself. So when you have that collaboration, perfect. And I thought Qatar was a good one.
Now let's come back to the Confederation of African level. You mentioned something quite interesting in the early phase of the conversation, where you said that statistically, many African players often have this sudden cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
Why so?
Right. So the study I did, and then of course from what other people had done in my literature search, confirmed that. So what I found from my study was the fact that our black African players had exaggerated response to physical activity. Now, every sportsman or woman.
When you say exaggerated,
exactly. So I explain that. So every sportsman or woman or any individual, once you are involved in physical activity, sports, running, anything, the heart puts on a bit of muscle. So just as if I go to the gym and work my muscles, they become bulky. If you are involved in sporting activities, the rate at which the heart will contract and relax to pump blood to the rest of the body, it does it more. All right, then the left side of the heart, called the left ventricle, gets thicker, and then plus other physiological changes when that happens. So the study we did confirmed that when two players, one, let's say a British and then a Ghanaian or Nigerian, they are exposed to the same level of training and everything, the heart of the Ghanaian or the Nigerian will be bigger compared to that of the British or the German. We saw this clearly. So we call that exaggerated physiological response to physical activity. Now this is the catch. When that happens, there's a condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is one of the key conditions that will predispose players to suffering cardiac arrest. Now, when our players develop these big hearts, it makes it look like a hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, because that is how the disease condition also makes the heart look like.
Oh, okay.
Now, then
So, is it our genetic makeup?
So, it's a genetic predisposition. That's the key word. So, it puts our players in a zone where we call, there's a diagnostic challenge. There's a diagnostic dilemma. So if I did pre-competition medical and I saw that kind of heart, I'm quick to say that, oh, okay, because it's probably a black African player, that's it. Yeah. So the motivation to dig slightly deeper to see whether this is a disease condition becomes very tricky. All right, and then the only time you might have some obvious manifestations of it will probably be an arrest. But like I said, the bottom line is a genetic predisposition causing this. And just recently, 2 weeks ago, I was in South Africa for a calf doping.
And I am particularly excited because this segment needs no introduction. And you just heard their music. Walasi and Mensa are here with me in the studio. And we're coming to discuss, these two conscious musicians will be delving into their music, but also touch on issues of national importance. And with me in studio right now is, introduce yourself.
My name is Walasi. Thank you for having me. I appreciate this.
I'm so excited to have you.
Tell me why. Why are you excited? Tell me why.
Oh, of course, it's a new year and I have you in my studio.
You are empowered.
And Mensa joins us via Zoom. Mensa, you're welcome to the show.
Please, thank you.
How are you doing?
Oh, Charlie, I've got a cold.
Oh, I'm sorry. On the first day of 2024.
Please say it again.
On the first day of 2024.
Oh, Charlie, it's good. It's good.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome, gentlemen, to the AM show. And I'm very delighted to have both of you here, actually. And let's start like this. How would you describe your 2020? Let me start with Mensa, who's been on the line for us for some time. Mensa, how's your 2023 been?
For me, it was just more about taking time for myself, and perhaps my immediate family, and just, I've been working. I've been a fully working man since I was since I was 17 or 18 years old. So 2023, I was just sleeping without any guilt.
Oh, wow. You start chair.
Yeah, I start chair. So I was sleeping. 2023 was the year of sleep and not feeling guilty about getting rest and being in one place, just being in one place and just, enjoying my family and my children. Really.
If you say sleep, is it literally wake up, sleep, not go anywhere, no work, nothing?
As soon as I do the bare minimum of work, then I sleep. It's so important. I think, I spent a few years just running around like a headless chicken. I think a lot of people often feel like this. And,
generation, or generally society, makes you feel guilty about resting, you know, and making time for yourself. So this 2023, I was reclaiming my time, as they say, and just sleeping. If I didn't have to go, I'll just stay at home and sleep, you know. So that's been my 2023, and just observing, you know, just watching people running around, getting tired while I was sleeping.
Well, we just listened to Ice but No Ice. What really was in your mind when writing that song?
Yeah, I mean, this also kind of goes back to my, you know, reclaiming my you know, the short history behind this song is that, you know, it was written, 10, 11 years ago.
Wow.
You know, and I finally released it on my album, and then I did, during COVID, we did a live performance with some musicians. And, you know, it's a shame that a song that was written maybe 12 years ago still resonates accurately now. So if you don't sleep, you will die. You know?
Interesting.
You know?
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a song about just, you know, I think leadership. You know, leadership and centering our youth in everything that we do, and I guess the lack thereof of that, you know, that's really what the song is about. I think that's one of our, I don't want to start the new year also kind of doing this kind of critical or criticism or things like that, but really that's what the song is about. And for me right now, I'm just tired, so I'm sleeping.
I get you, but let's engage you more on that. I mean, what would be your perfect description of Ghana in 2023?
You know, Ghana is our Ghana is the perfect paradox of life. You know, it's like we have everything, we also have nothing. You know, you know. But I'm forever, you know, hopeful, because, you know, is what we have, you know. I think it's up to us to just, as individuals, just look after each other. You know, the usual rhetoric, because you can't look elsewhere. You just have to look after each other and, you know, just try and give the youth some hope. That's really all I can think about, you know, how there's a sense of hopelessness amongst the youth.
So what really annoys you about Ghana? I mean, just to put it bluntly.
Charlie, you know, I feel like you want to ask me something, so I'll say something bad about my Ghana our new year. But, you know, I just want to touch base with the young people, because we are the ones who are going to do something special, you know. So I feel like young people have been highly disappointed and highly neglected and highly disregarded, highly disrespected. You know, our young people. We don't love our young people. It shows in the kind of decisions we are making, you know, for the country in terms of policies, you know, investment, funding, you know, education, healthcare, all these things. It just shows that we don't really care. There's no big picture for the future of the youth. That really is my focus. That's all I can think about, if I'm being honest, you know.
Interesting submissions there, but please hold on to your thoughts. We'll be coming back at you. But let's get to the studio now and speak to Walasi. Walasi, Happy New Year. How are you doing?
I am doing very well.
You look very good, by the way.
Thank you.
I like your shirt.
Thank you.
And it's one of my favorite colors.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, how did you spend your last night in 2023?
I think I was recording a song for my next project.
Oh, already?
Yes, and I spent some time with my family outside the house, and then some of my friends also called me, and then we spent some time together. Very old friends, and I came to sleep around 4 o'clock, and then I came here.
Wonderful, interesting, very eventful day. But let me also pose the same question to you. What's your perfect description of 2023 in Ghana?
2023, I think it was, I would say, in Ghana.
Or let me just make it generally, yes.
Yeah,
your
me,
2023.
I think it was a year of direction. You know, I felt like I had a better direction for myself as a creative person, I was gearing towards letting my fans and the people around me understand who I was. I wasn't scared to create how I wanted to create. I wasn't scared to do something that I wanted to do.
Okay.
You know, I'm becoming the true artist that I've always wanted to be. I can create anyhow I want, depending on the genre of music, depending on the concept of music, what I'm saying, how I'm saying it, how I dress, how I look. And I think it was just a perfect year of direction for me, yes.
Interesting. But please tell me, I mean, how do you think Ghana fared, I mean, in 2022?
Charlie, like Mensa said, honestly, Ghana has everything. Like, it's a beautiful place. You can do almost anything you want. I think it has the freedom for you to be anything you want. You know, Ghana has that space. And there are no borders now, you know. You have amazing people coming out from all over the world. It's easy for you to connect with people around the world if you're creative, no matter which discipline you find yourself in. It's easy for you to just connect to the world if you want to. So I think Ghana has made me believe that anything is possible, if I have to say. And then the youth is very very strong, energetic, you know, in getting whatever they have to get where they want to.
You know what's interesting?
What?
You and Mensa keep saying that Ghana is a beautiful place, and you know what not. But why don't your lyrics reflect that? Instead, it is like going hard.
It does.
The leaders that do
it. It does reflect it.
But more often goes the other way.
Because if you love something, you straighten it. Like if you love something, you protect it. If you love something, you try as much as possible to speak on the things that can make it better.
Right.
So all the things we speak of are things that can make Ghana a better place. It's not things that is making Ghana a worse place. And people need to understand that these things are happening so that we can be aware. You know, before something can change, you have to be aware. If you don't know that you are cuckoo, you are crazy, you cannot fix yourself. If you don't even know your teeth is paining you, you will not go to the dentist.
Well, how many times?
How many?
We just heard it.
Yes.
What kind of message were you trying to get out there?
Man, Charlie, how many times, man? How many times will we complain about roads? How many times will somebody die because of the road? How many times will the waters be brown because some Chinese person is mining gold, or ourselves? How many times will we complain about light? How many times will we have light off? How many times? Like, it's a lot. There's so many things that we always complain about every year, ever since we've been born. The repetition is a lot, and so I think how many times represents everything in a very like a very simple way.
Put it in a simple manner.
Very simple way, yes.
So tell me, are you frustrated that you keep saying these things and nothing is being done?
I don't think I'm frustrated. I don't even lie. I think I'm a very comfortable artist as of now. It's just you are an artist, you know, and art is not just something you create for fun. It's part of history. You know, when you are talking about history, there are certain music that reflects on what happened during those times. And sometimes we as artists, we need to use our form to store this history, talk about the happenings and how things can happen can be better. So that when you are gone, the next generation can know what happened and understand that, oh, this news, Joy News said this happened, and Walasi also said it happened, and Mensa also said it happened, then it means it actually happened. And this is where we are growing from, you know. So it's not just like because we are frustrated personally, it's because we can't see the difference between where we are coming from and where we are. You know, we travel sometimes, and when we do and we come back, it's like we ask ourselves, why can't we have this? You know, we believe we are also intelligent, we are also smart, and we are also empowered enough to get to certain levels as these other humans that we call developed countries.
But you and Mensa seem to be always thinking on the same tangent. I mean, you guys know each other, right?
Yeah.
When are you guys, collaborating on the song? I mean, Mensa, you also have to chip in here.
Yeah, I think we have worked on certain things. Some of them are underground; they are hidden somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it will definitely come out.
Let's hear it.
It will definitely come out.
You have to spill it here.
We'll spill it here. The first time, the moment, and we'll bring it here. I think we've worked on certain things before already, and honestly speaking, Mensa and myself are not the only people speaking about these things. I believe Stonebwoy has done songs about the youth and about having a better country. Even Shatawale has done songs about the youth and how better things can be.
But you see,
so it's not just us. It's just that we go so much on it, so much that it feels as if we are the only people doing it.
So you agree with me, right?
Oh yeah, I do agree, but I'm just letting you understand that what is happening is affecting everybody. Yes.
Mensa, what do you have to say?
But while you and me were eating something anyway. No, well, and I, we always find ourselves in very similar places actually in our line of work. I think this year we actually did a show together. Somewhere, I think when you was on an art store or something. This thing about I think there's enough people making enjoyment music and so on and so forth. We also have our own one or two enjoyment songs, but just to add to what I was saying, as an artist, I think your job, your number one job is to observe what is going on around you. In a sense, like a historian or a commentator of life, and so you can even talk about heartbreak, but there's no difference from being heartbroken from a woman or by a man or by a woman, and also being heartbroken by your country or by your community or the society that you're in. I think, ours is to just evoke emotions and allow people to live their lives through our art. So it's necessary. If you're an artist and you're not reporting what is going on around you, then half of the job is not done as an artist. But I think that's all it is, just observing and writing and singing about the things that we are observing.
So if you two were best friends, what would be like the collaboration you'd be bringing out together? What would be, I'm interested in the kind of
it's
thing you put on the table,
Because when I'm with Walasi, I think I don't even think that, I think we'll just have no idea, but
every time
it definitely won't be about, it definitely won't be just, just politics or whatever. I mean, I think we're both very sensitive artists in a sense, that, we are able to express these kind of social ills and make social commentary and things like that. But if we were to make an album together, it would be both, fun, light, talk about love, happiness, partying, drinking some small activities here and there, and also just, what's going on around us. I think it would be good. I think it would just be a good mix of all things, For me, I'll be more interested in the direction of the album, like the production, the sound, because, Walasi is also very adventurous in how he creates music. So, but we've been in the studio so many times. It's unbelievable,
That's
like
interesting.
him. Him in my sessions, I'm in his sessions with Senna, live shows.
How soon are you guys coming out? Because it's obvious that you guys have been together for so long, and yet we haven't seen anything from the two of you.
we are working together. Collaborations amongst artists, it's not just making a song in the fronts together. It's like, I feel like I've collaborated with Bola when he was working with Senna and they're in the studio. And I'm like, hey, listen, I know a guy who can play this instrument very well. Let me introduce him. Or this mix engineer. Literally last week, I called Wala early in the morning. I was like, well, I'm trying to mix some new songs. I'm tired of mixing my own songs. Can you hook me up with a mix engineer? And he, within a minute, he had sent me details to the person who makes his last project, and told him, I'll speak to him and tell him, this. So I feel these things are also collaborations. For me, the way I look at my career or the career as a musician, it's not always about who's being in the what's it called, the front, being the front man, being in the limelight. Behind the scenes things sometimes are even more interesting to me. And we do that all the time. We collaborate all the time in this sense. And Charlie,
even if anything, I feel like during even rehearsals before our shows, we do some freestyles whilst we are rehearsing like one song.
Okay.
And then by the time we realize we've done like 3 songs or 4 songs during rehearsal, and then we are done, we've forgotten about it, because it's like we are playing one beat, right? And then he chip in like an idea, and then he says something about Ghana. It could be anything, wachi, jollof, and then we mix it, and it's just kind of like it's improvising, but it's really nice. And by the time we realize we've done like 4 songs, like this is a nice song. We say, it's a nice song, but then we forget about it. It's not something you have to force to do because you have to do. It's something that just comes, and then when it happens, it happens. And it's beautiful.
But let me put this question to both of you. If you are to become president for a year, what would you do differently, both of you? I mean, let's start with Wala. What would you really do?
I don't think I've ever thought about this, but I think we have to re-educate our minds on what being a politician is. Are you here to help the next generation or just your generation? I think that's the first thing I would say, because everybody is struggling, including leaders and the politicians as well, because it's somebody comes to power, and then by the time you realize their house is a garden and then they have 7 cars, obviously it's a change, it's a drastic change. Right. So it's obvious that people are struggling, but so the thing is, how are you helping others also as well? Right. So I think we just have to change the mindset of being a politician is. Are you here for yourself or are you here for people? I think that's the first thing that I'll try to change. But it's hard to change the mindset of people, so it's not easy. So.
But you try.
I'll try.
Well, Meta, what would really be, I would say you're on a campaign trail, what would be your 5-point manifesto to Ghanaians for them to choose you to become president?
My first one will be, please don't vote for me because I'm not qualified.
Are you kidding? What would be the other 4?
I think we'll spend all the money trying to find qualified people who have Ghana at the heart of our best interest. I think a lot of political leadership is also egos. Just egos, Because to be honest with you, sometimes when I'm watching a television, I hear this minister of this talking, I'm like, bro, you have this position, but I have more sense than you. Like, how is this happening? How is it that the thing that you are saying, you have no idea about what you are talking about? It's just ego and who's your friend and who put you on here. So I think we really have to focus on finding the right people for the job, people who have a certain work ethic and have Ghana at heart and things like that. I mean, it's difficult. Anybody can come and say whatever they want. I think, also really going overboard and investing in the youth. That's the one thing, it's like a country that has a hopeless youth does not have a future.
Yeah, has a hopeless future.
You think that's the situation of Ghana?
Oh, come on. I mean, the brain drain that is going on right now in our country is crazy.
They are all leaving. Smart ones are leaving.
It's like everybody, there's not a single young person who I speak to who doesn't want to try something different somewhere else.
Right.
Because Nkoye, you know what I mean? Unless that person has, a parent who is like, already in the system somewhere doing something to make their life comfortable. But the average Ghanaian is looking for a way out, which is quite sad because, yeah, man. So, I would never imagine myself as president because I don't have the tenacity or, the skills for it. But I think, my efforts will go into just finding the right people who are obsessed with doing things properly.
Right.
Let them do their job. And maybe we'll borrow Kagame every 2 months.
Can you afford it? Anyway, let's talk about your song. I mean, your album, Wala, The Man and the God, in your song 4 Years, you satirized Ghana's politics. What was going through your mind when you wrote this song?
It's the same thing. Like every 4 years, like it's the same thing. Like how many times, every 4 years you can see the repetition in what is happening. Every 4 years there's going to be lies, and then they say they're going to do something, they don't do it, and then they come back. And so I think we channel that frustration into creating some music to make people happy about it, because the whole point of having a better place or a better country is understanding your problem and living with it and making it better, irrespective. So the band and myself, shout outs to Senku Live, found a way of mimicking the Osibisa sonic sound. So it was sonically like the Osibisa sound, because we wanted to revive that sound. We thought it was a very rich sound, and so we brought it back. And we used some lyrics that were directed to the frustrations of the youth and what they are talking about into music. And I think it worked out perfectly, because anytime we are performing it, you could see the frustration and then the happiness in the eyes and the mouths of the youth when they are reciting the songs. So, I mean, that's how it all came about. With the man and the God. It was all because we believe people are playing God on earth. You know, they have the power to give people jobs. They have the power to change people's lives. They have the power to also make people frustrated. You know, and you hear politicians threatening journalists and presenters because they are voicing out, because they have the power to do that. And so they have become the man and the God on earth, you know, because they are man, but they are gods on earth, because they have the power to change things. You know, not the big G-O-D, but like, you get what I mean.
Interesting. Yeah. But let me ask you, is your song played enough in Ghana?
I don't know. I don't monitor that, so I can't tell. But I have some presenters that play my song all the time. Shout outs to Caleb, shout outs to Kes, shout outs to AJ Nelson.
Why I'm asking is that there's a concern that Ghanaian music is not played enough on the airwaves. In fact, there's some who have gone ahead to, you know, project this campaign. Samini, Reggie Rapstone, the rest, giving, forcing, or let me say, campaigning that Ghanaian music is played 80% of the time on our airwaves than other music. Yeah. You know, what's your take on that?
I don't deny that. I think it's very obvious that we play more Nigerian music than Ghanaian music. It's very obvious. We also need to understand that presenters, DJs are artists as well. Like I strongly believe DJs are artists. You know, they curate songs according to how they feel and what they want to play and how they want their listeners to feel. You know, and if the listeners want to listen to something, they play what the listeners want to listen. So once they leave and the listeners are not happy, they feel like they are not good DJs. You know, and they want to do their job. So I don't blame any DJs or presenters for not playing a certain kind of music. Maybe it's because they don't want to play it. Also, some of them are being fed by this job. This is their job, you know. And if they are getting paid to play, then that's what they have to play, you know. And we can't force people to change.
Or do you think that the quality of Ghanaian music, as opposed to Nigerian music, is not?
No.
It's not. So why?
Ghanaian music is
you think our people are not, you know, patronizing our music? Why aren't our people patronizing our music?
I think it has to be an effort by the whole Ghanaian entertainment industry to play more Ghanaian music. We have to make that effort. There was a time that Ghanaian music was playing in Nigeria more than Nigerian music. There was a time. I think there was a time they also made an effort to push more Nigerian music in their country. There was a news out, I don't know if you remember, and they did that. So there has to be an effort. But we can't also deny the efforts that other countries are putting into their music, the number of money they are putting into pushing their music, the number of efforts they put in marketing. It's definitely going to reflect in the ears of the listeners. You understand? I was driving from Takoradi to Accra the other day, and we're playing like all Ghanaian music from Lord Kenya, Mochami Kwame, Obrafo.
Was this your own vehicle? Or
yeah, it's my own vehicle. It's not. It wasn't something I was listening on. It's my own vehicle. So it's like, and you could see the fun. We were singing word to word, like we were reminiscing all these hit songs back to back. So they are like huge songs and very good quality songs that have been produced in Ghana ever since. Even today, if you play Daddy Lumbe's song, the quality of the song is top notch.
Well, interesting there, but these are hits that have gone. You think we have quality, the recent songs that we have that have the same kind of quality?
Obviously they do. This is just, even if the old ones are better, how much more the new ones? Like we have people doing amazing songs. Kwame Eugene can promise. Ifya is doing amazing music. We have all these people, you know, there's so many people are creating dope music. It's out there, it's everywhere. Lamen Gang, like even the youth are changing. We have Black Sherif, you
and
know.
The rest.
So like.
Well, Mesa, what's your take on this? I mean, more Nigerian music playing on the airwaves here in Ghana. Do you agree, or you also are pushing for Ghanaian music to be played more?
If a foreigner comes to Ghana or somebody comes to your station as a DJ, you want to show them that you know all the new Nigerian songs, all the new songs that are popping in the world. So, you know, it's our nature. It's our nature, you know. What do you mean when you say it's our nature? What do you mean by that? You know, it's like it's better to show people that you know the international flex than value what we have at home.
At the expense of our music?
At the expense of everything. Why do you think imported rice is more popular in Ghana than our own? It's just the way we are, man. You know, it's like we always want to show people that we're also there on top of, you know, and now Nigerians, it's so funny, right? Right now, Nigerians make songs and use Ghanaian words to hit.
Yeah.
Like you find the Ghanaian titles in Nigerian songs.
Odoyo, you know?
It's so nice to see. It makes me very happy.
Why it makes you happy?
That's what we want, you know? We don't have any capital in this music, you know?
How can we change the narrative, Mensa? I mean, you produce very good quality songs, but doesn't get enough airplay as other Nigerian songs or other songs from elsewhere. What should be done?
Honestly, I really don't know. I really don't have the answers. I just, you know, I think, and I'm being serious when I say I think there is a cultural aspect of it. You know, I think, you know, a Nigerian walks into a room, you're playing any other music, like, Omo, why are you not playing my music? Play my song now. What's going on? Straightforward. It's like, why, you know, Ghanaians are more happy to not offend than, we would much rather not offend than to die.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how we are, you know. So it shows in everything that we do. I think, you know, we just don't have any capital. Like, you know, when it comes to streaming numbers, you know, Ghanaians are actually streaming more Nigerian music. This is facts. I'm not saying this. I've got people at, you know, in Spotify and Apple Music.
Yeah.
And this is the fact. We're not a strong hold on the streaming platforms. Definitely Nigerians are making better music than Ghanaians. I have to say this. I mean, you can come and, if you don't like it, go and hug an electric pool. They are definitely making better quality music because they're investing more money, more time. There's more of an understanding for the importance of arts, but also in an entrepreneurial way. So it's not waiting for the government to do something, but it's just like support, people investing a lot of money into creating world-class music. If you right now, you know, there's very few artists who are taking, and Walasi is one of them, I have to say. It's not because he's here. I don't really like the guy. But it's, you know, it's like when I listen to Walasi's mixes, I'm like, okay, this is on par. But sometimes when I go out and I hear like DJs playing and they play Nigerian songs and they switch to Ghana music, the quality just drops in terms of mixes, in terms of like production. You know, there's a few artists who are really doing interesting things, but I feel like our whole attitude towards the whole thing is almost like,
don't care.
We've given up on that flex too.
Yeah.
You know.
That's sad.
Yeah. You know, and let's not even talk about the mainstream Nigerian artists though. I'm talking about Nigerian artists who are doing different things. Like the way Walasi and myself and some of the bands that we love. They are like, it's on a different level, but there's an entrepreneurial spirit that's going on there that I feel like Ghana started, but we got to a point where we just couldn't grow it any further, you know. But in saying all of this, let me just quickly say this, that it's also a little bit unfair to compare Ghana to Niger, because we're talking about the people with 230 million population, a population of 230 million. And what's Ghana? What are we on? We're not even on 50
Somewhere
million.
in the region of 31 million.
Exactly. So when it comes to numbers, you know, the size of the country is what, like 5 times bigger, you know, and so if they decide to stand behind their music, they're definitely going to make more noise. There's definitely going to be more variety. There's definitely going to be more entrepreneurial spirits or entrepreneurial success. There's so many things to think about.
So what you're saying is we're not investing enough in our music?
It's a lot of things. It's not just one.
Yes,
it's not just one. Right.
But I think that the key point here is that we are not focusing enough on growing our talents as Ghanaians, and there's too much comparison, like looking at Nigeria, looking at this is what we do. And you know, my friend Manifest said to me, like, comparison is a thief of joy. So because we are so much into like what everybody else is doing, what's going on here, we can't really focus, because we created this Afrobeat sound. Nobody can take that away from us, you know. But now I just feel like there's not one single Ghanaian artist who's doing something so unique that's like, oh, okay, this is a Ghana sound. There's nothing.
Right. Well, that brings me to royalties. Have Ghana paid your royalties? Well, that's it.
Which royalties? Which one?
What is that?
Which one?
That's sad. You haven't received any royalties.
Some time back, I went to collect some money. That one day, I'll not even sit here and lie. I even tweeted it, and then I think the bloggers picked it up. Because the thing is, apparently, everybody's money is there, whether you like it or not. I mean, I won't sit there for somebody to chop the small money that I'm not even making. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'll go and collect it anyways, irrespective of whether it is the right amount, it is not the right amount. So
but how much do you earn on your...
Oh, no, I can't disclose that over here. That's too private. I'm sorry.
Really?
Yes, I can't.
Please, me, I can't.
Yeah, because
Please do. Let's hear you. Yeah. Let's hear you, Mensa. Have you received any royalties? And how much are they supposed to pay?
Please, the amount that I've received, I think is in the negative numbers.
What do you mean? I cannot understand. Is it -1, -2? What do you mean negative numbers?
Negative million.
Yeah. Mensa, you have to make us understand.
I'm being serious. You know.
So how much exactly?
Negative million. Because I've never been paid anything before.
Okay.
But I know that, you know, radio stations play my music, venues play my music, venues play music that I've produced, films that they've shown on TV that I'm behind, that, you know, people don't know that I'm behind, but I've registered everything. But there's the royalty system. I mean, somebody told me, even my father is owed royalties. Somebody just took my father's music and just put it on their advert.
Oh.
And it was on TV for months and months. You know.
So what are you doing to retrieve your money?
Well, one time we went to Musica, or I don't know if it still exists, and we told them that we are doing a film. So the royalties that they owe us, they should just use it to just support the film as if it's their money. You just pretend that you are giving the money that belongs to us. Pretend like you are the one who is dashing it to us. They told us, okay, they'll get back to us. And we finished the film. 2 years later, we got a letter. After the film was finished and released, already touring with the film. We got a letter saying that they've thought about it and they'll get back to us.
Interesting. Well, we're in an election year, 2024. Very soon we'll be going to the polls. Would you allow politicians to use your songs?
Allow? Yeah, of course. If they have to pay, why not? That's the business. It's a job. If the music suits your campaign, why not? It's just music. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. So if they want to use it, that's the purpose of music anyways. If somebody feels it's suitable for something that they need to use it for, why not? And moreover, you don't know the intention of this politician. So maybe they are trying to actually do some good. the fact that we are talking about politicians doesn't mean we don't need politicians. We do need them. We just need the ones that can do the job.
Right.
It would be nice for us to see a young, innovative politician changing or doing something different. Everybody's talking about Kigali, talking about Rwanda. Everybody's talking about how great the place is. It's just because one person has tried to change something. So if that person is a politician, then it's fine. It's not about the title of the person. It's about the efforts that they put into it. So if a politician comes out and feels like they want to do some change and my music is best to suit that change, why not?
Do they compensate you?
Do they compensate?
Or did I understand the NDC used your
Yes. But they have not compensated. I know you are looking for a headline for this interview, so it's fine. They have not compensated.
We're just trying to understand. I mean, know what goes into it.
I understand. It would be nice to also know what goes into like the production of our music and where the music.
So they didn't compensate you.
I've already answered that. Where the music goes to, example like the Angry African, the EP I just released. It's a very, 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 very beautiful project. We took like 6 months to produce this song, and I think if people can understand how beautiful it is to come up with these ideas, they will cherish the music more, they will stream more, and then we can have more numbers than Nigerians, you know. But if we focus on the issues that are personal towards artists, it will not let us grow. It will always, every time you go to the news, you know, Walasi Mani, Walasi Gamro, Walasi, you know, but when you go and you see Walasi has plenty streams because Joy News talked about Angry African, then we will start competing with Nigerians.
That's why you're here in the studio anyway.
Exactly.
Well, Mensa, what's your take? I mean,
would I let a politician use my music? I think I'm more towards leaning towards no.
No.
Yeah.
Why?
Personally. I would say I'm leaning more towards that. Just because politics is, you know, can be a messy game. I mean, okay, my whole approach towards who uses my music is that do their policies align with my policies or their ideologies, you know, and their outlook on life and things like that. Does it align with mine as an artist? So those are the things that I look out for. So it's very likely that none of these, no Ghanaian politician will ever get the opportunity or get, if they wanted to. I don't think my music is something that any politician would want to use, but I would say no. I would say the same way that certain products, maybe like a bleaching cream or something like that, I will never allow, you know, anybody to use my music for that. So
you think you'll be tainted?
It's not tainted, but I'd much rather not take that chance.
Right.
You know, I think for me, I'd much rather, especially going by the history of politicians in Ghana. Like, you can only go by what you've seen before, you know, by what their campaigns are and what the actual governorship looks like. You know, it's two very contrasting things. So they can sell you a dream, but when it comes to practicals, and then say your guy. Yeah, you know, so I think I'll be leaning more towards no. That and bleaching cream.
Well, interesting conversation here in the studio with Mensa and Walasi, but we will continue the conversation, but please take a listen to this. So, Walasi, interesting song there. You look very young then.
Yes, very, very young.
How long ago was
like
this?
7 years ago or 6 years ago, I think. 6 or 7.
Wow, now life looks good, eh?
No,
you look very good now.
Life was good then too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every time is beautiful, irrespective.
So what was the song about?
It was about life. Like, you have to cherish the moment you have. I think it was during my grandfather's passing, and it was the only time somebody close to me passed. So it hit me different, and I couldn't believe that it was happening. And I think from then I took a chance and an initiative to make sure that I do what I want, how I want, and just go all the way. At the end of the day, Charlie, everybody go back, you know. So when you understand that life is short, you cherish it more. You know, it's beautiful when you even know that it's not as far as it can go. You know, it's not forever. You cherish it more and you value it more because somebody is even looking at what you are complaining about and is hoping that they have that same thing that you have. So it was just a reflection on me valuing life itself, cherishing the fact that I can just breathe and say good morning. You know,
was that your first commercial success?
No, I don't think that was my first commercial success. I think my first commercial success was my first album, Nusa, because that's what paved the way for me. That's why it was one of the albums that, you know, Manifest manager had called me over, Hammerhead called me over, and through that I did songs with Obrafo, Kwakese, Sarkodie, Jirak Stone, and you know, I was even part of the last two's compilation, and I was on like 6 songs on the compilation, so I think that was my first big break, and from there the features also commercialized it more. Features with Jules from London, Show Them Come from Nigeria, you know, like Zlatan, you know, that's where the commercial part started going because it was just features and I was doing hooks, and I think it went well. But I would say the first commercial success was my first album.
Right. Yeah. I know you talk about the fact that it was a time your grandpa passed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, putting the song together, which part of it, the process, would you cherish the most?
I think the process I'll cherish the most is when I was alone. You know, I think everybody has their own way of creating, but I like being alone when I'm creating because I think I can reflect on myself and within easily and freely as much as I can. Once there are people around, there is an influence. You know, you're trying to do something because somebody's around or because this person wants it this way or whatnot. So I think what I cherished most about doing this song is firstly me being alone and doing it by myself. Secondly, what I cherished about most is when Senada Gabdu said, yes, I want to be on the song. Right. So she came to the studio and we did it together. I think that was a blast. It was amazing. Yeah.
Well, there's this particular song I love from Vincent. Let's listen to it. So Mensa, this your song. My favorite thing about it is the video, and I've always I put it on repeat, and I try to understand what is the thought process that went into this. How did you put it all together for it to come out so beautifully?
Wow, it was, yeah. You know, I think we were trying to capture just how bizarre life is, like, you know, I mean, the song is called Forward, and it's really just acknowledging, you know, our past or our history, even in our own personal lives, you know, everything that we've been through and how we use that to push our way forward, you know, or to look for the next thing or continue living life or, you know, keep doing interesting things. But the video, I mean, I was just watching it right now as we're showing, and I was just asking myself, like, what was I thinking, or what were we thinking, you know, when we made the video? But it's got a lot of like little subtext in there. So say, for instance, there's a scene where I'm walking and then I end up on a basketball court.
Yeah. And you end up in the library. You're somewhere in the market. You're buying some.
Exactly. It just moves. But on the basketball court, somebody's holding a golf stick, about to hit a football on a golf court.
I'm wondering what was going on in your head at the time. I mean,
it's like Ghana.
You know, and interestingly, the title of the song, Forward. So you do this and you name the song Forward. I mean, my mind is all over the place.
Yeah.
What did you want me to get out of the song?
It's a state of beautiful confusion. And look, it says the writing is on the wall.
Interesting. And the fact that your back was mostly to the camera instead of in front
so
of
just like, yeah, so I'm moving forward and everything is like, it's behind me. I go into a library, and the point of that is when I go into a library and I hold the young people's heads, you know, you go into a library to read, right, to expand your mind. So I just went there straight to read people's minds instead of going to read books. You know, it's just like a play on words and on concept. Like that's the walk into the library right now. where it's like they're young minds reading. And so I go there to go and read their minds to get knowledge, which also means like just, staying in touch with the younger generation or understanding how the young people are being educated, or, staying in touch with the minds of the young people, it's just little kind of, just weird expressions and things like that. But if, these things are to just entertain myself and my camp and my team of creatives, for us. And if anybody latches onto it, to them, good for them. But yeah, this is a very bizarre video and I love it. I really love
if you ask me, it's a brilliant piece there. One of the brilliant pieces that have really come out. But let me ask you, what is your resolutions for 2024?
Wow. You know what? I personally, I don't make resolutions, because I feel like when you kind of set, these things, sometimes it can be too overwhelming, or maybe that's not really what you need to be making resolutions about. I think I'm doing a lot more of reflecting on the past year and finding things that are interesting for me to put my energy into. So for me, my whole idea of my career is that every year I take a different aspect of being a musician and I capitalize on it. So sometimes I'm more of a producer, sometimes I'm more of a touring artist, sometimes I'm more of a co-writer and writing for other musicians, and so on and so forth. So this year I'm really thinking about how to present myself in a way that makes is for me as in my creative life, something that fulfills me. I'm also a parent, so I'm also looking for, my kids are growing, I'm also looking for ways to form stronger bonds with my family, with my children, and how to be there for them in a more, because now they're growing. Before I was like, daddy, I just carried them around. But now when I tell them facts, they're like, daddy, sorry, the internet says what you're saying is a lie.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so now I'm also trying to build new, stronger relationships with my family, with my friends, and just looking for different aspects inside of me that creatively that can see me through the year. That's really what it is. Nothing big, just normal every day, and continue sleeping.
All right, but Mensa, do you have any album coming on or coming in this year?
I do. I have 4 albums coming out this year.
Are you releasing all 4 this year?
Yeah. It's all done. It's done. But I was sleeping.
Anyway, it's interesting, and I'll be expecting those albums. Well, let's come to the studio and speak to Wala.
Hi.
So Wala,
yes,
what's up for 2024?
More music, and improving upon myself as a musician in terms of like the business aspect of music. Trying to get more visibility in the places that I think is needed. Right. Expanded my fan base, not by numbers, but by quality. Hopefully traveling more than last year. But yeah, it's just being a better artist and learning more, because like Mensa said, Ghanaians, we need to learn more about the business aspect of music. It's something we don't push as much, and it takes a lot to do that, especially if you're an artist by yourself. So I'm hoping I get to a point where it's not just me as well. There's a whole team that is working towards a particular goal and just growing as an artist. Yeah.
But do you have a favorite? I mean, of the works you've done, do you have any favorites?
It's hard.
Something that you knew this hit home for me. I think this will always hold a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I think my first album will be the one. Like, it will always be like the top, and it will always hold a place in my heart, like you said.
Right.
Like your choice of words.
Well, Mensa, do you have one?
A favorite project.
You do?
I do, and I have. I get tired of my own music very quickly. So my favorites is the new project that I've been working on. We'll see what that does. I mean, there's some classic things like, the Cause of Money films. I really love that. Every now and then I go back to it and I watch it. I'm like, wow, I was so not afraid. We were just feeling free and enjoying ourselves. So that always is a nice reminder. If you haven't seen any of the Cause of Money films, those are interesting. And my last album, Bonzi, is an album that just continues to give, you know. It just has so many interesting songs on there, and every now and then I go back to one of the songs and do a remix or do a live performance or, you know, just a new video or something visual for it. So I really, this being a musician is too much for me, honestly. I want to do something else.
Well, let's stick to the album. You say you have 4 albums, right? Can you quickly give us like a line, drop a line or something we should expect, you know?
Yeah, so there's a series of short albums that I'm trying to release. And as I said to you, you know, I'm always trying to find something different in my creative process that kind of tickles my brain and makes me excited to create. So this new album is called the Fear of Love and Happiness series. Fear of Love and Happiness. And it's a mixture of very, very vulnerable love songs. Some also very descriptive.
Can you sing a line?
When you meet Mike Tyson and he tells you the boxer, ask him to give you a punch. And if he does one for you for free,
I'll leave it here, Mesa. I am hoping to meet you and then you can sing. But anyway,
I will. I'd love to sing for you in person, but once we're on a public distance there, they have to pay. But won't pay.
Well, we'll arrange that. But thank you so much for taking time out of your sleeping schedule, you know, to spend some time here with us. Very, very grateful for being here with us.
Thank you for making the time for us and the support that you guys also show us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And voila, so blessed. Thank you so much for being here with us in the studio. We also appreciate you very much.
Yes.
And we're hoping to hear more songs from you as well.
Happy New Year.
And that's about how we wrap up our show today. You've been listening to the AM show. We'll be back to wrap up, but let's take a break. We'll be right back. This is the AM show, and this is about how we wrap up. We just heard from Wolase and Mensa, and we also heard from Uncle Ibo White. We also heard from Kofi Asari, who made this show an exciting one. I promised you it was going to be uplifting, and indeed it was. I also had fun, but tomorrow promises to be more exciting, and we'll bring you highlights from Tamale, where a cookathon is cooking up. Well, up next is News Desk with Faustina Safo.